Go away, Adrian.
All right, we're live.
Get out of the door.
We're live. We're clearing out the studio. Armand's got the president live on the phone.
I got the president on the line, dude. Let him speak.
That includes personal ambition.
Wait, are we back to a threat for democracy? Do we need to cool it down or heat it up, Mr. President?
Bro, we just get
Do we
copyrighted.
take a chill pill?
We're copyrighted now.
Oh,
Yeah, gaslight me,
Jesus.
baby.
Oh, Jesus.
It's going to be a good episode. Armand demanded we had old
gaslighting to
fashions.
start the
I
pod.
just want to know, do we heat it up or cool it down? Is democracy at
He's
stake?
playing the greatest hits, man. Hey, man, play Democracy is Dying.
Come on, man.
All right, guys. Well, let's get into it. Welcome, everybody, to the Alfalfa podcast. We're live on YouTube like we are every Wednesday at 5 p.m. PST. We got the whole crew with us. Eric Johansson, Armand Asadi is back from the wilderness. Steven Cesaro, I'm Nick Urbani. Welcome to everyone in the chat. I see, what's that, Bruin Black? Hookem. Who else we got in there? Corby. R2 Guate. What's up, everyone? Thank you for joining us in the chat. All the links are at...
What would you say to the first-time listener who's out there? Because you know he or she is out there.
What would you like me to say to
I
them?
don't know. We should welcome them.
I just did. Welcome to the
John,
Alfalfa podcast.
You know, could be like a Corby.
Hey, Bill.
Could be a Bill. There's a new Bill out there.
Hey, John.
One of my favorite lines.
Welcome to the group chat.
Yeah, welcome.
We've already had a few drinks. Thank you for arriving.
I'm
Please,
Drinking heavily today.
pour yourself a drink. Steven is poor
Not a good day.
after today's market.
Not a good day.
As I was saying, all the links are at alfalfapod.com, so you can check out the Discord there. And if you haven't already, like the video. Algorithm loves that shit, so please do some more of that. You can support the pod in a few different ways. You can use a super chat. Your comment will pop up on the screen over one of our heads or under one of our heads. You can also check out the digital collectibles at pods.media/alfalfa. Armand, you've graced us with a old-fashioned day.
Mm-hmm.
Old-fashioned days are good pod days.
Thank God.
So
what we got here?
Mr. I think it was Phil, wonderful concierge at Total Wine. What a shop, by the way. I think I already talked about this once. But
Is it
Total Wine,
better than Bevmo?
oh,
It's just...
night and day.
Yeah.
Night and day.
There's
Total
poos all
Wine,
over
Should I
Bevmo.
Excuse
on
myself?
Bevmo.
Should
Yeah.
I excuse myself
Bevmo.
for asking?
Total Wine is where it's at.
You're just like, should I buy Litecoin? That's what you just did.
So Phil walks me through the. I tell him, I'm like, hey, I gotta, gonna have a little old fashioned day with the boys. He's like, rye or bourbon? I'm like, rye, Phil. We're going rye. He's like, why do you say that? I said, well, that's what a real old fashioned is. We gotta go rye. We gotta go old school. We gotta go traditional.
Come on, Phil. Keep
So,
up.
a little less sweet, a little more complexity when you go rye. Most people go bourbon when they go old fashioned, but that was already a change I wanted to make this time. And he introduced me to this new company called Still Austin that is like popping off like crazy lately, apparently. This is not a super aged bottle, but because it's in Austin, because it's in Texas, all of the Texas bourbons and ryes and whiskeys in general are becoming really popular because of the heat there. And because of all the heat, they age really quickly and they have like a distinct flavor to them. So this is like a really new popular sort of brand that's doing cool stuff. And then obviously we don't have all the things right now to be making a proper old fashioned. So when I was camping last week, we had 3 or 4 different old fashioned mixers. And bitter milk here was by far the best.
It is
So
delicious.
It's incredible.
Not a sponsor.
Not too sweet.
Good.
Not too artificial. Really complex. There's a really cool story behind this company, actually. The owners are awesome. Really cool story. And so comboing bitter milk and some Austin rye whiskey.
This bitter milk's really good. What I like about it is it's like it's easy. Pour, drink.
From a 7-step to a 2-step.
Yeah.
Love that.
And see, I literally would go out of my way for the 7
The
steps.
pageantry.
Yeah, love pageantry. Did you see the whiskey video?
Oh my God, the guy chewing.
Yeah,
on
the
the whiskey?
chewing on the whiskey.
Yeah, yeah. I
loved
thought
it.
like I was actually thinking while I was watching this, like, thank God nobody that I know drinks like this. Because
What are you talking about? That's literally how I drink whiskey.
It's not
Just-
You are not that level.
Not that I'm at that level. I'm just that ridiculous when I'm alone drinking whiskey.
That was like a satire. That was like an SNL skit.
No. That was real. He's like a professional whiskey connoisseur. I forget his name, but we should shout him out.
Well, I see more people hop in the chat. Welcome. We got some fun stuff to talk about today. Lots of stuff to talk about today. We got Biden dropping out, a little swapperoo with Kamala. We got some Polymarket Trades of the Week. New segment alert brought to you by Steven Cesaro.
Yes.
And then, of course, we got to touch on ETH's IPO moment. There's a lot of new data we need to talk about. ETH ETF went live yesterday, about a day after the 10-year anniversary. So a little celebration is in order, and we'll chop that up as well.
Yeah, a little celebration, a little therapy session.
Yeah, therapy as well. But before we do, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, ZBiotics. So check out zbiotics.com/alfalfa. I know Steven took his ZBiotics because he went into my drawer and stole it
I
out
took
of my
half
drawer.
of the Z-Biotic because I accidentally dumped half of it into the trash can.
Oh my God, Armand, panic goes for a Z-Biotics.
Ooh, this will
Wait,
be a
he
good
has
test.
a secret stash? Son of a
Steven
bitch.
now knows that there's two options for him outside of buying.
Don't worry, I am tallying your use like an accountant.
I owe you 5.
Yeah. Oh no, it's more than 5.
No. I replaced them. I
Okay.
replaced them.
Okay.
I've been tallying it up. I told you last week it was 4.
All right. Well, you owe me 5 ZBiotics pre-alcohol, and Armand forgot his.
I pay you with interest.
Wow. Cheers.
To me.
It's all on you, baby.
Show me shoot.
I thought you'd have to two-putt that, to be honest.
How are the notes?
I kind of like the taste of it. Is that weird?
So, okay, get down.
Thank you so much
For
for that.
99% of you that haven't seen the video I'm referring to, you're welcome.
Yeah, you really need
Go
to see
figure
this
that out.
video. It's in our Discord.
So Armand just took a swig of ZBiotics pre-alcohol probiotic. It's been their only product for a long time, but there's some new ones coming out. So stay abreast of it. Check it out. We're excited about the new ZBiotics ones coming out. But the pre-alcohol one's our favorite. You know, for the cost of one drink, you can save yourself from all those other drinks that you have in the night, like we may have today during this pod. So yeah, check out zbiotics.com/alfalfa. Use the code alfalfa at checkout. You get 15% off, and you also help support the pod. So thank you, ZBiotics, and thank you, Armand, for the live demo.
That was lovely.
That was very lovely.
We're
Lovely.
halfway done with this bottle.
Yo, you got a target
God.
number? You said target was 1 before we start recording. You got a target number for
6.
okay.
6?
We can do 6.
I'm going deep today, boys.
Yeah.
I've
We
had
got
a-
to get out there. We
I've had
gotta
a long
stare
day.
into the abyss.
I'm losing my mind.
I'm
I'm losing my mind.
Grab a Zin,
We
too?
need to therapize Steven
Wait,
here.
you know what I did today? So this is a very me story.
This is a good way to start.
It's a very me story. So a couple days ago, my uncle texts me from back home. He's like, I'm going to be in town. Can we come to your house or something? Like a little dinner? I'm like, sure thing, Uncle Mike. I arranged everything with my brother, set up a big thing for tomorrow. Texted him today, like, can't wait to see you tomorrow. And he's like, I said next week. And I'm like, oh, silly me.
Yeah.
But then I look at my phone and I realize there's 2 Uncle Mikes in my phone. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Who was I texting?
Anyway, TLDR, it wasn't Uncle Mike. It was my cousin Robbie, who I have been texting for the last 5 years thinking he was Uncle Mike. It's just realized today that
That's impossible.
It's like
That's not possible
actually,
for anyone except you.
Yeah.
It's not, it's
Wow.
not-
actually impossible.
that's not
Thank you
possible.
for introing a new practical joke. Like,
No, you're not serious.
I'm serious, man.
See, I couldn't continue. Like, I just would probably nuke my phone if that happened.
Once
to
you
me.
do this a few times, you just roll with the punches.
Oh my god. Oh my
been,
god. Yeah, that's a good window into your soul.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's my brain.
I like that.
Armand,
I like that.
This is your brain on ETH.
you had a very different week than us because
Mhm.
we were just sitting here gobbling up news and spitting it out and doing our normal thing. You were out in the wilderness.
Yeah.
But you might have had some internet connection a few of those days. So
Oh my God.
we did an episode. I feel like it was cathartic for us to talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm
Were you
curious.
screaming at the TV?
Fun story. You know, everyone remembers where they were when 9/11 happened. I think it'll be similar when Trump got shot. And when Trump got shot, I was driving down the $1 Million Highway in Colorado. So the $1 Million Highway, which I don't think you know,
I've
most people
never
don't
heard of
know,
Never heard of it.
is it's terrifying. So it is a tiny, very narrow 2-lane thing off, and there's a cliff drop, and people die all the time. There's car accidents all the time, and it's a very dangerous stretch of I think it's like an 8-mile stretch, and you're going through these huge mountains, and there are areas where there's no rails,
Fuck.
and weather happens, darkness happens, things happen, and people die every single year. So luckily, we were right before it was about to start raining too. Because in Colorado, it rains all the time, really randomly, and in summer, it just like all of a sudden will rain from like 5 to 7, like just torrential downpour, and then, hey, it's the sun again. Hey, Mr. Sun. So anyway, we got through the $1 Million Highway. And that's where I was when I found out Donald Trump got shot.
So you took your hands off the wheel, immediately started scrolling Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't driving. My brother
Did you
was
weep?
in the back seat. No, I didn't weep. I was just shocked because the way he said it was so casual too. He was just sitting in the back seat, and I think one of his group chats went off, and he was just like, "Trump got shot," and I was like, "The fuck are you talking? What are you talking about?" It's like, "Yeah, my friend said Trump got shot." I'm like, "No, not bot. Like, are you serious?" And then I was on Twitter for the next like 48 hours. So
I still haven't left Twitter. Like, I feel like I've been doing like track for like a week. It's so bad. I'm just like,
well, before we go into
Scrolling.
like the dark abyss of like what is life, I do want to say that week off for me, in the wilderness, stepping outside of everything, was really incredible. And so that's actually the alfalfa I had was schedule those in, disconnect. You know, I bricked my phone. I've told you guys about Brick, I think, but it's a device I use to like turn your phone into a brick. I signed out and deleted all social media apps. I deleted my email. So there was really, and then, you know, everything was just totally disconnected. And then for stretches, you know, because we were camping out in like 10,000 feet, you know, remote areas, there was just no reception for a couple days at a time. And that was really, really incredible. It took like 3-4 days to get out of that fight or flight state and really be okay with not going like, what, you know,
Because that's like it's rare for you even on vacation, right? To
Yeah.
like to remove yourself.
yeah, you know, it's unfortunate, but like sometimes, you know, when you're an entrepreneur or a startup founder of any kind, like even when you travel or go on trips or vacations, you feel like you need to stay connected and you feel like you need to stay on top of things. And it's true to a certain degree.
Mine is morning of day 4. It like the nervous system calms down. It's like, everything's
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah,
It's
I
all
think
good.
it's all going to be okay. But yeah, thankfully I have an awesome team, and they made that possible. But yeah, I mean, go touch grass if you haven't lately. I think Steven is going to stay on Twitter for a while, but you should touch
But
some grass too.
Armand, I want to know what you thought. You listened to the episode. So like,
Episode was
were
fantastic,
we on
guys.
point? Are you part of Steven's conspiracy theory 75% probability camp? Like,
well, let's go to a different, almost direct. I don't want to go back too much to like
Yeah.
the conversation you guys had. I will say this: amazing episode. I loved it. I was like sitting there, just like as an Alfalfa community member, you know, watching, listening, and yelling, like they all probably do, at all the mistakes we make and the things we don't know. But that's the beauty of it, right? It's like we're just sharing our opinions and figuring things out. I was disappointed at the like lack of sort of like shining a light on the hypocrisy of what is going on here. So where I want to begin is simply by saying like my perspective on everything has fundamentally shifted. The emperor has no clothes. Smoke and mirrors. And if you aren't awake to this yet out there, then enjoy eating your steak and good luck to you, sir. But the world that we are living in is mush and mush and more mush, and it's a complete smoke and mirrors fabrication. It's all a sham. And opening your eyes to that, the question that I hope we discuss today is like, what are the trade-offs for accepting that, and the repercussions and the second order and third order effects, but also what is possible as a citizenry and as a country by waking up to that? Because enough is enough, guys. The media has been called the enemy of the people. I always thought that was such a ridiculous, dangerous statement. I no longer disagree with that statement. The lies that we have been told for not just the past 4 or 5 years, I'm looking at everything differently. I'm looking at the moon landing again. I'm looking at 9/11. I'm looking at JFK. I'm looking at everything.
Interesting.
What happens when you really begin to realize, and maybe that's a stretch, maybe this really all just became more intense and the emperor took his or her clothes off because they tried to assassinate a president and it didn't work out, and now it's like emergency level 7, what are we going to do to eliminate this guy? And so much more has transpired since that assassination attempt that is just like, do you think we are that stupid? How stupid do you think we are? And I think that the wonderful advantage that they have is the power of propaganda and knowing how easy it is to manipulate the minds of people who are not willing to turn it on and accept reality, knowing that it's much more convenient to accept these so-called truths. So where I'm at, guys, is like, I don't know the answers. I don't know the details about second shooter. I don't know the details about inside job. I don't know the details about, I'm not out there saying this is like a body double of Biden. I'm not saying that stuff. What I am saying,
Are you saying that, though?
is that, well, here's what I am saying. You resign.
A lot of people are saying that. I'm not saying that, but a lot of people are saying
I'm
that.
not saying that, but here's what, no, I'll tell you what I am saying. How stupid do you think we are? He went MIA, says he has COVID, resigned on Twitter. Are you fucking kidding me? I thought you hate Twitter. No letterhead. Signature's different, which doesn't make sense because if you were faking it, you would get the signature right. That's the main thing you would get right. Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense.
Wait, you forget the CrowdStrike hack.
Oh,
or whatever.
so-
whatever the failed.
And so that's
it's called the oopsie.
And so that's like, imagine the world we'd be living in.
Are those connected?
This is the most terrifying.
It's just probably a coincidence.
No, but here's the terrifying. If Trump had died that day, and then 2 or 3 days later the world had shut down, knives and guns in the streets, guys, no question. That would have been the spark of civil war, no question. People grieving, people angry, everything shuts down. All the people traveling. I mean, you would have seen scenes. People getting in brawls in the airports. People pulling out guns and shooting people in the streets. I guarantee you, we escaped a huge tragedy. I mean, you can see it. You just know it at that level of like pain and shock value. It would have been terrible. So we narrowly avoided that by like half an inch. And now we're in the situation where they're scrambling. And what I am certain of is that there are powers and there are people that are running the show, and they think we're stupid. And I'm no longer going to play the fool. I'm no longer accepting things at face value anymore.
So the veil is lifted.
It's completely lifted.
Oh, welcome.
No, because you
Welcome.
can't sit there on high ground. We're equally
Welcome.
arriving to this conclusion. You've been on Twitter just as much as I have, and I think that we're all sort of waking up to this at the same time. I did blow my
called
load a
this
little
shit
bit.
out
at the
like 2016,
barbershop.
man. People have been telling me I'm crazy for years, and now everybody's like, yeah, all right.
Okay, so
And I wasn't even like full Marty.
So like Armand did blow his load there, but I
I blew my load twice. Today.
Yeah,
I
I
blew
wanna
at the
actually, like-
barbershop this morning.
okay, well that's a lot.
I had the whole barbershop going.
That's a lot. Okay, so I want to put the focus back on Steven now because you did transition. Like Steven, you said in 2016 the veil was lifted for you, like, but you haven't gone to the extent that some people in our Discord have, like Marty, for instance. Like, so where do you like? I guess the question I have is like, okay, so you see some things that are false. Does that mean everything's false? Like, where do you land? Like, Can you like accept anything to be true anymore?
I try to put myself in like the sort of like Brett Weinstein type circle where it's just like, yeah, I'm pretty sure everything's kind of fucked, but also I'm not going to go like completely off the rails, but I'm going to be hyper skeptical of everything, and there's probably some shit going on here. I think people are either like very accepting or they go like full Marty, right? Not to say Marty's wrong, but like I don't have the evidence to support some of the stuff that Marty says, because it's just like you're just totally over the cliff and everything is just I'm not there yet, but I know that there's a lot of bullshit happening, and I know that I'm being propagandized, that I'm being gaslit left and right, and it's just like it's like interesting to me because it's gotten like progressively more like obvious, and more people are sort of like waking up and going like, oh whoa, but like also like a shocking amount of people are still just like, yep.
But are you able, I'm curious for both of you, are you guys able to find a balance where, yes, if we're talking about this and we're having a discussion about it, about politics and everything that's going on, are you able to like compartmentalize it? And in that moment, sure, get enraged, get pissed off, get frustrated, get confused, but then, take that, shove it to the side and just go on with your daily life without it affecting you? Or do you feel like now that the veil is lifted, things just seem a little more pessimistic? Like you just... Does it carry through the rest of your life? Because I don't want that to happen. Like I no matter how suspicious, how many lies, how many games are being played, like I want full agency over my life, and I don't want that to like bleed over. So I'm curious for you guys, like, do you find it bleeding over, or are you still able to compartmentalize it?
It's just a personal choice I think everyone makes about like how much they allow the anxieties of these realities to like take over their lives and how good they are at compartmentalizing things. But I think if you continue your life acting like you live in this like free country and this democracy that is like running without any corruption and the things that you're being told are true, then you're full of shit and you're just living a lie and you're choosing to compartmentalize in an unhealthy way.
Okay,
I think if you accept the facts and then you live your life and you're like, well, regardless of the facts, I got to take care of my family. I got to take care of my kids. I got to take care of my mom. Yeah, I do, because there's a lot more corruption going on in the Congo than there is here.
Well, right. Yeah,
and it's all relative. The point that I have always made on this podcast is that everyone is lying to themselves about this country being so perfect. And it's complete horseshit.
Wait, who thinks the country's perfect?
Tons of people.
What?
Tons of people. I've brought this point up before many times. And I've talked about the fact that America likes to present itself as a hands-clean, civilized, uncorrupt country. But everything is just 1 degree away from that presentation that the media puts out. It's just slightly different than what they want you to see. And they're just leading you down this path of like, it's a lot of gaslighting. It's a lot of pathological like accusations of the exact things that they're guilty of themselves.
So, Eric, I got a question for you, because the piece of that resonated the most for me was the media part. Like, that's the biggest transition I've had personally over the last, like, 6 years, is, like, that part. I just, like, okay, this is the playbook they're running. I don't take it for face value. So I'm just curious, like, you're kind of like almost like you view yourself as, like, a bystander, just kind of watching it unfold. It doesn't seem like you get personally involved with it. But on that point alone, have you noticed your personal opinions and the way you view the media change?
Yes, and I think that everything that you guys have said thus far is correct. I feel myself like moving more towards this. I don't know if you call it an awakening or something, but where like I realize that like things aren't as they seem, and specifically like I look backwards too. Like throughout history, things have never been as they seemed. Like throughout history. History was written by the victors, right? Like it's always skewed in a certain way. Mm-hmm. And if you can like maintain that as your like North Star, which is like that history's never been actually accurate. This isn't accurate. I agree. It's not accurate. But I also have this thing about America. Like I know that like it isn't as great as we like to make it out to be. It's not this fucking panacea. I get that. But like I saw this. This thing came on my feed, probably because it's me. Like it's a Warren Buffett clip, and Warren Buffett came on my feed. It was like an interview from a long time ago. He's like, well, you know, like you look at like the stock market, you look at like the economy here in America. It's like, it's not because we work harder than anybody else. It's because we have the best system. The system works. He's talking about capitalism basically, but he's like, this system works, and like other nations have like smart people and like hardworking people, but he said, in my lifetime, the GDP has increased 6x. And he's like, that's because of our system. The system is great and it works to like for an economy. Like,
Right.
so like I sort of like don't want to get too far down this, like, I guess it's maybe what Steven was saying before, where it's like you can like see the things that are fucked, but also not lose yourself, because like it's pretty good still.
No, you can't lose yourself, because then you're just, what are you doing? You're just like completely nihilistic. And where are you going to go move to a farm in New Zealand? What do you want to do? You're going to find new problems and things to complain about. Everything is relative. America is the best system. America is an incredible country, but I think not facing the facts of what we're seeing today and the level of corruption we're seeing and the propaganda and the powers that are at play and the things they want us to believe, it's insane. And it's not like I woke up today. We've been talking about this stuff since we started the Alfalfa podcast, about how much corruption there is and all these challenges. It's just that these events that have transpired in these last 2 weeks have made it just indisputable.
Dude, if it hasn't opened people's eyes like within the last 2 weeks, then I don't think they'll ever be opened.
And
Right.
the biggest part is the propaganda part, the media part. So I just have the toughest time, you know, swallowing it these days.
Dude, like the story of like Biden is sharp as a tack. Nope, Biden should step down. And then turned on a dime again, and Kamala's the cool drunk aunt. You know, she's like your cool drunk aunt, and oh yay! Now she's apparently black. First she was Indian. Whatever's convenient.
Yeah, whatever suits the narrative.
Whatever
baby.
suits the narrative, and like she should be president. Oh, and she's so popular and raising all this money and all this stuff. It's like the narrative changes so fast. It's remarkable.
Almost as if it was like planned a little bit.
Do you guys remember when Biden was doing the debate and I was at home and I sent to the other group chat, I sent the video of like they were doing the CNN breakdown, and he had one of the guys had his phone, and he turned to the guy at his side, and they
both got the same
they
text.
Both got the same
Yeah,
text. And then did you notice that he immediately went, "Yeah, you know what? Fuck Biden.
Yeah, it was
He's done.
It was
He's not
Axelrod
gonna
and
make
John
it."
King.
You guys remember that, right?
Yeah, I
on
do.
CNN.
On CNN.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
I remember watching that post debate, and I had like an almost like out of body experience.
Exactly.
I felt like I was like
I
seeing the
never
code
expected
of
that.
the Matrix. It was like
That's exactly how I felt.
So, Stephen, like, we say that the media is like fooling us. We clearly see through this propaganda, but like, whenever I see someone make that argument, they're like, "Thank God for Twitter." But at the same time, I'm like, that's kind of bullshit, because there's the most amount of misinformation on Twitter. So where do you go for the truth? Like, it might be in there somewhere, right? But you got to like sift through it. It's like now it's on the individual to do it. So I mean,
You've always been a fan of that.
yeah, I am, but you know, I'm trying to think about like how can a mass group of people find out what's true, and I find a tough time believing that like, well, these news networks are clearly not it, and I just definitely don't believe that Twitter is a good source for most people, because it just feeds you more of what you like. So I'm curious how you sift through it, because you feel like comfortable sifting through it, but you see probably a lot of different angles. So what are we supposed to do now?
That's a great
Like,
question.
I don't know. My Twitter feed's weird right now. Like I blocked so many like right wing Twitter accounts, because they're just like, there are these people who just like engagement farm like rage bait.
Yeah.
Like it's just like your feed is just full of like, oh, here's a black guy robbing a store and a white guy gets shot. And it's just like all this fucking shit like over and over and over again. And I'm just like, I'm so tired of this. So I mute Colin Rugg, mute Dom Lucre, mute like everybody, like mute Joey Manarino. I'm just like muting all these right wing guys. And it's like interesting because my whole feed is like the algo now. It's really weird. Like ever since like Biden stepped down, like my algo is like, it's just pumping me Kamala propaganda. It's just like, and every tweet I see is like somebody like, oh my God, like, and it's like tailored for me. Like every tweet is like some version of like, I'm an ex-Navy SEAL. I'm 6'5", 320 pounds. I can do and I'm voting for Kamala Harris. It's like all this content's like curated to address like all of your objections and be like, and it's just like, I can see the machine evolving in front of me. Like it used to be like they just feed you propaganda through Walter Cronkite, and then they would just feed you propaganda through CNN and MSNBC, and now it's more complicated. Now they've got like I know people who they have a TikTok following, and I know for a fucking fact they get payments from political parties to make posts. Like this shit is getting more sophisticated. Like people follow all these people, all these influencers. Like everything in this algo is trying to shape your perception of the world, and I think a lot of people they don't think, like nobody is like sitting down being like, oh, like let me think about whether Kamala Harris is like a good presidential candidate. They're just like they're flipping through a feed passively, and then they see people that they associate with liking this person, so then they're like, oh, I like this. This is like how humans work.
Dude, I want to ask the algo a question. Like, how good is the algo? Because what I'm thinking is like, I've never seen any of the stuff that you guys have seen. Like my shit is so different from yours.
Can I quick grind my gears before you answer that?
Yeah, please.
I hate when you guys text, did you see this? Just send me the fucking link. Why do you guys do that? We don't all have the same feed.
Yes, we know.
No,
we
just-
know.
Just send the thing. What do you mean we know?
He does the same thing.
No. What are you talking about?
Should we
Just
consult
send
the record?
Just
Go to the
send
record.
Just send the thing.
I'm even like not even privy to this
Come in with the
dynamic.
By the way,
Receipts
for the listeners, we have two group chats. We have an Alfalfa podcast group chat where we talk about pod things and things we want to talk about, and then we have a friend one that's called is it called Thinkers and Drinkers?
Steven needed a work-life balance separation.
Yeah, so we have like a friend one. So anything non-podcast related, that's where it all
It was a
gets
good
dumped.
thing, but like,
It is good.
okay, but Armand does some things that like I don't like too.
Okay.
Like
What are you talking about?
like-
Let's
An airing of grievances.
I gotta
air
air some
your grievance,
grievances.
but we got to make sure we don't forget the question in there.
Yeah,
Okay. If you're in a group chat, like you cannot just drop like a 5-minute video and be like, "Oh my God, guys, I don't have time to watch the 5-minute video.
I agree with that. I completely agree.
I don't have time. It's too much.
You're
There's too much
not
going on in my life."
13.
Well, first of all, I don't even participate in either of the group chats.
Yeah, we know, Eric. Thanks.
Because like anytime anybody shares anything with me, it's like that's like an unsolicited knock on my door that I just don't
Yo,
want.
billion
I'm
dollar
never texting you guys again.
billion dollar app
This
idea,
guy
by the
doesn't
way.
want to be texted. This guy doesn't have 5 minutes for an oh my
I
god.
think I know where
video.
Steven's
I just
going.
have a great idea for
Jesus
your
Christ.
company. Imagine a plugin for like WhatsApp or something where it's just like when your friend just posts like a video, it just automatically just gives you like bullet points of it. Boom. You don't even have to, and then you can decide if you want to watch it. But there's like a little AI voice blurb. You
I
can
love
just kind of
this.
listen to it.
I'm sorry to
Move
tell
on.
you guys, I'm in other group chats with other friends that are responsive. Watch the content that each person shares and enjoy sharing links and information.
I have
with
so
each
many
other.
friends who share me like I'm like that guy that.
What are you guys talking
Do you know how
about?
people? You do have some people are like the
I don't
person
have time
everybody
for your
confides in.
5-minute videos.
I'm the person everybody confides in, like politically. For some reason, like everybody's like, "Yo, you're gonna see this. You're gonna see this." Like
He's
I got
radically
people
moderate,
sending me.
whether he likes it or not.
It's like unbelievable.
But I
get it.
admittedly
You're really
am
popular.
there's an inverse relationship
Apparently.
between. I was gonna say there's an inverse relationship between how many people are in the group chat and my responsiveness. The more people in the group chat, the less likely I am to respond. You got 8 people in there, no fucking
If
chance I'm
somebody texts
responding.
me individually, one-on-one, I will always respond.
All right, so I have a perfect.
yeah, good one.
I have a perfect app.
It was the opposite.
I have a perfect app for Eric.
No.
Okay, when you text the group chat, it actually sends individual messages
Oh,
to everyone,
there you go.
and if they respond to that specific text, it goes in the group chat.
Yeah,
So
I'll go.
they don't know they're in the 8-person group chat. They just think they're
You
talking
can
one-on-one
use
with people.
broadcast lists in WhatsApp to accomplish that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody's
to
just gonna make
accomplish half of that.
somebody's just gonna make an autoresponder. Like so, anytime your friend sends like meme or something, your AI bot is just gonna send like some response that you would send,
Can-
and
can
you're
I
not even
be
gonna look
honest
at
with
it
you
and move
guys?
on with your life.
Everything you guys have said is just like you're just old. You're just really old.
No, what I'm saying is advanced
Every
shit. I'm
person-
talking about the future.
Younger is just like active, group chat responds
I know.
as they like.
I'm the oldest of
want to.
all of us. I'm
You know,
about to be 40.
You're
in a
all
couple
over the
months.
hill.
Is that
You're
what
all
you
over
is
the
that what is that what you think the Utes are doing?
Yeah.
Wow.
The
They
youths.
talk to
The
their
youths.
friends. That's what I do in my other chats. That's what people do.
All right.
So, okay.
Grind my gears. Airing grievances going once.
Nah,
Going
let's
twice.
move on.
Okay. So,
Kamala's laugh.
I forget what we were talking about. We were talking about the algo.
I was asking, like, is the algo so good that it just like it can like convince me specifically to vote Kamala in a different way than it convinces Steven? Like for Steven's algo, it's a fucking 6'5" Navy SEAL telling him like vote Kamala, and for
Sorry,
me it's
guys,
like a
I
tennis
feel
player or
like I
something.
feel like we've
Yeah,
discussed this so
it is.
much in terms of like algos and how to handle this problem. So isn't it kind of simple? It's like it's really not that complicated. First of all, my algo I really like my algo. This is made for me and it's wonderful.
I used
But-
to like my algo.
You've curated yourself, baby.
Yeah, exactly. I have. I've been very intentional about it. I hide things I don't like and blah blah blah.
My algo
But
is
the
just
point
force
is,
feeding me liberal black women.
ultimately, it's going to brainwash
It's unbelievable.
you, right?
Right.
And so, the answer is just click on the people you follow. Be intentional about the people you follow. The answer to finding the truth in the chaos is X. You don't want to consume CNN or Fox News or Walter Cronkite because that is propaganda.
'Cause he's
so
dead.
You go to the town hall that Elon bought for $45 billion or whatever, which was one of the greatest moves ever. And it honestly has been the greatest source of information and news for me that I could ever possibly
I feel like
imagine.
this
I've
is like my algo
turned the
talking to
corner.
me right now.
I've totally turned the corner on X. I think it's a wonderful platform. It's amazing. And if you just focus intentionally on who you follow and you can be skeptical enough in your follows and your ability to consume information and go back to what we've talked about over 100 times on this podcast, which is that you have the agency and authority to shape the information that you consume and you need to be skeptical
What if you
but
log
intentional.
off? What if you log off? Can you just log off?
What do you mean?
Can you log off? Like, what if you just ignore the feed?
Completely.
Can you ignore the feed? Like, here's the
no idea what
thing.
you're
Here's a thing that I do that you guys don't do. I ignore the feed, like more than you guys do. I don't ignore the feed entirely, but like, I put a 1 out of 10 on the feed where you guys just moments
three of
ago-
us are looking at each other
Moments
like,
ago, you
wait, that's
said
an option?
You were on a vacation and you were like literally attached to your feed. So I'm asking, like,
No, I said once Trump got shot, I became attached to my feed. But
I'm
I don't
always
understand.
attached to my food.
I don't understand what you're saying. Yes, of course you can log off, but then what should be your? Should you have any sort? Are you just arguing for just disconnecting from it all?
No, but we would be your filter, right? I guess like the only way you would hear significant news is like through your close friendships, right?
yeah, and like to be fair, there's like it's a spectrum, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
a binary outcome. It's not like feed, no feed, right? There's just like a way that you can maybe do it where like in a healthy
I see.
medium, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I
'Cause,
mean, I
like-
wasn't on Twitter at all before a lot of this like recent
No,
stuff.
I
so
got years
totally
of
agree.
experience riding the dragon. It's still hard.
So I think like the power of this feed of like infinite amount of information from all different angles has to come with one of those old school ad council, like what was it? I think they did the truth thing, the tobacco, like ad council commercials,
I
the
remember
PSAs.
Those are pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it's like there needs to be a PSA to like be like, you are now in control of your information. Be careful about what you click and what your timeline consumes,
I like
because
that.
Elon has straight up told us several times what he's optimizing for is user minutes. That's it. He wants more people on their user seconds, and that's what they're optimizing
Oh my
for.
god! Do you think in Europe at some point it's how in Europe when you like buy a thing of cigarettes, there's just like some picture of like a
Yeah, like
dead like
a-
3-year-old.
Yeah,
It's
like a toxic lung.
I feel like we're like 3 months away from like you're in Europe and a post comes up on your Twitter feed and there's just like a giant warning. It says like, "Warning: This post may make you retarded if you read it."
You
And
could either be QAnon or gays for Gaza. Careful.
it's just like so, wait, I'm not supposed to say the R word. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
sorry,
that was,
Amber.
Oh yeah, that's the worst thing you've ever said.
You know
All
what's
right.
happening.
I'm making
So
a point to try not to say that as well, by the way.
I know. I was just sending the Alex Jones meme around to a lot of people today, but so it like
Sometimes
it's
it's
stuck
a-
in my head.
Sometimes it's a perfect word, even if it's not used as intended. You know what I
I
mean?
know that's always been my thing. It's like I can't find a different word for this.
Well, where do we want to?
I want to go into Kamala
Okay.
because like we covered what we wanted to cover here, and
Are we done with the veil?
well, I don't know. Do you have anything more to say?
What are we
No,
talking
I'm curious
about?
if you guys have anything else with the veil, because this last couple of weeks was just like,
Well, the veil's lifted. The veil's
what does
lifted.
that mean for you? Like we didn't have. I guess are we coming back to that conversation of like what does it all
It
mean?
means that the
All right.
world is a stage.
We'll go back to that.
We're just
so
running
later on,
performances
we're gonna
in front of us.
We're gonna go Von deeper then, just to open that loop with like
Yeah.
now what?
Yeah, I want to see like for you guys, particularly like, so Kamala is going to be the Democratic nominee. What do you feel about that? Like,
Okay, I feel immense regret because have you seen the ROI on this polymarket trade that we talked about? I don't know if
that you've talked
Nick,
about for like
immediately
a year
goes
plus.
immediately goes to ROI.
can
No
you pull can you pull this up? So I think we talked about this like 2 weeks ago before the episode before the debate, and
Is it
Steven
this?
even
Did I
has like a
click the right
clip
thing?
where he talks about he's like, oh my God, Kamala is lower than other. So she was like at sub.
Kamala's-
Yeah, I
Kamala
remember-
was
I remember
lower than
that.
Other.
She was behind
Eric, throw this one
other.
up on the screen.
Kamala was lower than
She
other.
was at 2%. She's now at 92%.
So what kind of ROI is that?
46x.
46x.
Okay.
This is better than shitcoins.
This is how you know the fucking world is bullshit. Because like 2 weeks ago, when people had to bet actual money, right? When money's on the line, like markets don't lie, baby, right? And when the money was on the line, it was like Biden, Obama, Whitmer,
Gavin.
Nick's dog, other, anybody we forgot, and then it was like Kamala. And now it's like, oh, Kamala's the nominee. She's so awesome. Just like my feed is just like it's just feeding me like how cool is Kamala? She's so great, right? It's like the biggest psyop I've ever seen happening.
So does that give you a question about the betting markets or about
No,
the system
I
of
think
what
the betting
Armand's talking about?
markets are correct, and I think it reveals like how corrupt the system is.
All right, because I want to talk about a little bit about the hypocrisy of democracy.
Ooh.
There's a few things that happened that I think are worth discussing. So, the first step of this was that when Biden was running, they did not allow a primary, right? They didn't like anyone to primary
The incumbent is running.
because the incumbent is running. But like that was the shtick, that was the message that the president is the leader of the party. He is the only person who's beaten Trump. He will beat him again.
If I'm, like, help me understand. When the incumbent's running, there's usually not a primary.
Usually
Usually not. But in history there have been times like this time, for example, there were people who were like, "Hey, this guy has oatmeal for brains."
Dean Phillips won.
Dean
No.
Phillips.
No, everybody was aware that this guy had oatmeal for brains.
Aware.
Only a few
Yeah.
people said that. He was never going to be the nominee.
I mean, I
Biden was
personally
never
know
going
some
to be the
people
nominee.
who like actually genuinely believed the propaganda, which is like a source of like my schism.
No, I'm
with,
talking
like,
about
people.
insiders. I'm talking
Yeah.
about the Democratic.
No, people who are in the inside are not stupid.
They never intended for him to be the nominee. This was a sham.
What do you
So-
mean? No, they did intend him to be the nominee. They only pulled it back once it became so fucking
Disagree.
obvious
I
that the
agree
emperor
with
had no
Steven.
clothes
Disagree.
that they were like, we can't go anymore.
You're both
No,
wrong.
I think Steven's right.
Absolutely
There's
not.
no way
Steven's
I'm
right.
wrong here.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
What
not.
are you talking about?
No question.
They wanted Biden because Biden already beat Trump, but
Wait,
then
no.
he was so
You're
bad
saying they did.
that they
Wait,
replaced
they
him.
didn't
You're
want him to be the
thinking-
nominee,
you
so they
thinking
rigged
they
the
were that
primary
dumb.
so that he was 100% the nominee, and then they organized, and then they train wrecked him on stage, making the party look like a bunch of ass clowns, and then put in like an inferior candidate. That's your
Right,
conspiracy.
because like they would like
Of course they wanted him to be the
conspiracy has
nominee.
more levels
they
to
would
it.
have built up the current
He was a puppet.
candidate
He was a
way,
perfect puppet.
way earlier had they intended to do that, but they just
Nah,
started
I
Kamala.
am
guys
incensed.
will
I am
catch up.
incensed by this theory.
You guys will catch up. You'll see it play
all right,
out.
just
No.
Kamala's not the nominee either. Hate to break it to you.
explain your theory.
Hate to break it to you. Kamala's not the nominee either.
Ooh,
Kamala's
you're
not the nominee. You get a
No.
lot of money to be made there.
92%,
92%.
Kamala's
Sell.
not the
I'm
nominee.
switching
Sell.
back to the poly market.
I would not be surprised if
so-
Kamala
This is like this could be like your
to the
Dogecoin
Armand,
bet
we're
all
on
over
the
again.
poly market screen right now.
Yeah, how much money can I win?
So the next after
A lot of money.
Teach me how to gamble.
Kamala's 92%.
You can make 10 to 1.
After Kamala, Michelle
Yeah,
Obama's 5%.
you can just market sell.
The problem is I have absolutely no idea.
Hillary
who would
Clinton
be.
1%.
Then you just buy no. You buy no for 7 cents.
You just have to buy. You
I'll
just
buy
have
no.
to sell Kamala.
I'll buy no.
For 7 cents, that could go to 100.
Yeah, I'd put it at least 60%. She's not going to be the nominee.
All in, baby. All in. Bet
Maybe
all the
we
money.
will. If you think that they intended for Biden to be the nominee, you haven't been paying attention.
What are you talking about?
That's it.
All right.
Wait, you think like 6 months ago they didn't want Biden to be the nominee?
Longer.
Years ago.
Longer.
Years ago?
Biden was never, ever, ever capable of being the nominee. Not in the last 2 years.
No, the whole point of him being the nominee is that he's not capable. That's like the feature, not a bug.
There's puppet, and then there's like totally incapable of even performing the duties of a puppet. And that became clear to people 2 years ago that he is incapable of being the president of the United States.
It wasn't clear to people until he like went on stage and pooped his pants in front of everybody.
Again, clear to the people that spend time with him, the insiders, the staff.
Right, but they don't
the
care. As long
Democrat-
as the plebs don't notice, it's fine. Like once all the plebs notice, then they have a problem.
They do care. We should move on.
Okay. So I want to talk about predictions last because I want to see what you guys think. I'm in the camp that they were like, this guy, we'll stitch him together. He'll be fine. He'll be the nominee. He'll actually win.
Yeah, he beat Trump once.
Yeah. All right. So they didn't allow anyone to primary him, right? They were like, at some point, they're like, oh, shit, we have a problem. He has a serious health problem. They covered that up. Sharp as a tack. It was like odd that, like, I don't know, 50 different, political commentators just used the same words over and over and over again.
Is there a clip of that? There probably is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy to find.
scary.
You can just search Sharp as a tack on YouTube. Then he withdraws, and then they tell you who the nominee will be. So we just went through a process in which the Democratic voters did not get a chance to vote for it. And I wonder, do we have a problem with that? Because on one stage, that
always the plan.
was the anointed candidate, and they wanted him to be the candidate, and people did vote for him. A lot of people voted for
You're
him.
not living in a democracy.
Shamocracy.
You're not living in a democracy. This is all part of this agenda. The only time that this plan fell apart was when Trump didn't get assassinated. Everything has gone according to plan except that. This is all now like repercussions of like what do we do in scrambling and how do we actually bring our plan to fruition now that we
Okay,
didn't
hold on.
kill Donald Trump.
Hold on. Let me play that out because I actually think that's like reasonable. I think that's reasonable. like what?
What a world.
Yeah, what a world. God. So Donald Trump was like against Joe Biden. Nobody thought fucking Biden was going to win against Trump to begin with.
No.
Right?
People literally thought this.
People are fucking, that would never happen. Okay.
He just means like what really would have happened.
Yeah, what really would have happened. Okay. So now you get this fucking invisible woman who hasn't been a part of anything for 4 years, who nobody fucking likes, she's just invisible, and she comes out a day later, and the polls are telling her that she's got 46% of the popular vote. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's a lie.
Like that to me is like the only thing that I'm like, okay, this is like such a crock of shit. Like the poll numbers are just absurd. Like she came out of nowhere.
We learned 8 years ago that polls are fugazi with Trump.
I don't know, but I've seen guys like fucking 538 do polls that like actually work.
No,
Yeah,
but-
but we saw it fall apart with the Trump election.
But remember, like the 538 polls when Trump actually
538, I think, had Hillary at like 90-something%.
no.
Right?
They had it at like Trump as a third, but like people
Did they? Was it that high?
People took it as like 67%. She's a landslide. It wasn't that.
No, was it
60
really that high?
Yes, and
I thought they had her like about 90, and like the New York Times was like 0. Like I remember some of the polls were they were
but I think
comically
people
bad.
confuse like the amount of votes that they're ahead, like in terms of
No, I'm
surveys
talking about
versus
like
probabilities.
probability of winning.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I would love for the audience to fact check it because I haven't looked at it in a
Nick and
while.
I remember we were sitting and looking at 538 all the time, and it was meant to be like a landslide, and it fell apart.
But
It
I
didn't
don't
work
think
out.
in terms of probabilities of landslide. Like if you roll the dice, he just rolled
33% is pretty reasonable still.
right. And so like she's leading in the national polls, which don't fucking matter, by like a few points. but look at the betting markets. Like in terms of her versus Trump, Trump is still at 67%. So like she does have a
2-1.
She does have like
2-1 is 33%.
she's got a good roll of the dice in terms of the probabilities of what happens on voting
Queen,
day.
ace king, baby.
This is such
All
bullshit, though, because Biden wasn't even 2-1, and then this person comes out of fucking nowhere with no campaigning, no nothing, like not even like a resume over the last 4 years. She was invisible over 4 years, and now she polls better than fucking
But
Biden.
so you're trying to reconcile this, right?
I'm trying to make this make sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Yo, it makes complete sense because most people they've just been programmed to they've been systematically programmed for like 8 fucking years to just hate Trump. Like more than any human being in the history of planet Earth. Like I swear to God, like people have like a more favorable like opinion of like Hitler at this point. Like it's like a joke. Like people have been systematically programmed to like hate this man.
But he was
Like,
beating Biden.
Maybe he's like number 2.
But he was beating Biden.
I mean, you guys are missing the biggest point.
No,
of
but
this.
like people aren't thinking of this as like who is it? They're just like not. It's like not Trump.
Wait,
it's like just like the null set.
That's not
of-
the way you reconcile his issue. You just have to follow the money. Like there's $250 million sitting in a bank account. It can go to one of 2 people. It can go to Biden or Kamala, and that's it.
I agree with that. Like but I think he's saying like a different thing.
No, you're wondering like how is this person that I literally haven't heard of in 4 years, who's never won?
Right, because he was beating Biden, and now
But
Kamala
you're like
comes on.
why are her numbers so high?
Why are her numbers better than Biden's?
Right. That's like which is a different thing than the money.
Okay, so can we talk about this angle, because like I'm getting a little frustrated because a lot of the attacks against her are not on her policies. Like they're about her personally, like the way she rose to the top, how she hasn't won anything actually, how she got demolished in the primaries. She had to drop out.
I read a lot of stuff about her shitty policies. I think one tweet went viral. It was like, don't attack her personally. Tell me what your issues are with her policies. And it was like a really, really, really good thread. But I mean, a lot of people talk about the prosecution of marijuana, users and like all the just sham bullshit that she's done. And, there was like a really, really good tweet that I bookmarked if you guys want me to pull it up.
I mean, are we? So I tweeted something today. I mean, I was tweeting late last night.
Okay.
I was like late night tweeting.
Oh.
One of the things that is grinding my gears right now is that the Republicans they're just throwing the fucking election. They're like taking the bait.
Yeah, what is this all about?
They are okay.
doing?
So the worst thing you can do is to be like, Kamala Harris is a slut. Vote for Trump. No,
You don't need to do
do that. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? It's like, do not attack this person on their like anything to do with like sexual.
Politicians or
No,
people?
like people, like there are
people are gonna do
KOLs in the Republican Party, right?
Oh, KOLs.
Yeah, the KOLs, and they keep talking about like, oh, Kamala slept with Willie Brown together. Stop it. You look like a fucking asshole. And then everybody's like, well, Trump's sexual history is play, so we're doing the same for her. No, that is such a mid-curve take. Don't do that. You look like a fucking asshole. Like, her policy is bad, right? What we know of it, like who she is on a non-physical appearance or sexual history level is bad. Like, don't do that. Like,
Dude, like-
you look like an asshole. You look
get
like an
that.
asshole. Don't do it.
I agree, but like I think it's like maybe this is what you're saying. Like the Democratic Party didn't even like Kamala during the Biden administration. They hid her. She was invisible.
But so it's a vote, and I know you saw this tweet. I forget his Tracing Woodgrains or something. I don't know what it's called. His handle. Anyway, he said a vote for Kamala is a vote for the machine. Like, you're not voting for her. She is an avatar of
Yes,
the
of course.
Right,
a
she's
Democratic
invisible, of
Party,
course.
right? And she's just gonna like go with them as long as she gets
She
anointed,
was VP.
right?
President?
So it's not
Are
a
people
vote
serious?
for her personally. It's a vote against Trump, and I think like it's easy.
But that's what I find so weird is because like the vote against Trump wasn't so fucking severe against Biden. Like when Biden was running,
Right.
That's why I can't reconcile it because Biden was somebody that you voted for, and now you have somebody invisible, and you want more invisible. Like that doesn't make sense to me.
You got to play it. You got to think of the chess they're playing, though. It's all just a game of like, okay, now we're gonna prop up this person, and we're gonna get Trump to waste all his energy and all his money to combat her.
I disagree.
She's
Okay.
completely like as more popular than anyone expected.
Okay, so here's what
and they're gonna swap her out.
Here's
She's
what
not
I'm-
gonna make it.
Here's what I'm gonna say: is that the popularity is fucking fake. The
That's
poll
what I'm
number,
saying.
the poll numbers are fake. Her popularity is fake. Her actual percentage chance of winning is way less than Biden's percent chance of winning against Trump. Biden's percent chance of winning against Trump was marginal at best, and Kamala's is worse.
Brother, that's literally what I'm saying. I'm saying that they are fugazing the whole thing, misleading everyone, making you think that. I mean, polls are so easy. Again, we saw how polls can be wrong. Polls can be manipulated
like
in
the
so many
Polls,
ways.
certain
polls are
population.
different than the probabilities.
Yeah,
We talked
polls
about
are
that.
different.
And Corby, our friend in the chat here, just mentioned 538 had Hillary winning 71.4% of the probability and Trump winning 28.6%.
Okay.
So, like, even
makes
though
Thank
she
you,
was
Corby.
ahead
Nice
by like a
job.
few points, like the probabilities were still, greater than the polls suggested.
Yeah,
But
quarter.
can we talk about Kamala's policies a little bit? So, Armand, do you mind finding that like there was a video I put in the card about I think it
How far
showed
down the galley. Here?
Bernie Sanders and Kamala talking about equity
Uh-oh,
inequality.
This video is not gonna work.
I don't think it's that
Has the
one.
R word in
I think it was like a.
You guys can't be submitting videos with the R word. Come on.
I didn't put that one. That
Should we
was
watch it?
definitely
Should we
you.
watch it?
Yeah, no, I don't want to watch that one.
Oh, damn it.
No, because
Wait,
we're trying to go against that.
Who submitted this video?
This one. All right, so let's
Back with Bernie. Back with the last
wait,
one.
Where's go to Bernie?
Guys, come on.
Yep.
Come
Yep.
on, Bernie. Here.
This one.
Go. Hit
All right,
go.
play it.
Wait, Bernie knows this?
Oh, it's not playing.
It's playing.
No,
Not playing on stream.
no one can hear it.
What?
Yeah.
Ah. Bernie said
Bernie is saying
Equality
what we
means
say,
equality
which
of
is that
opportunity.
equality of opportunity, not outcomes. Kamala is saying we need equal outcomes for all, which is communist and forced outcome, and that doesn't work.
So
Damn,
you're
I wanna hear what
saying
Kamala said.
Kamala is more communist than Bernie Sanders?
That's what I'm saying. And there's if you look at her voting record in the Senate, she was a California state senator. She
Mhm.
I think Gavin handed that to her. But in any case, like she is one of the most liberal.
She
or
was
left-
rated like the most left person in the Senate.
right. And so as you're the Democratic nominee, your job is to like work towards the center. And I don't think she's going to be able to do that. So to your point, Stephen, like stop with all the like ad hominem, like her personal character attacks. Just go after the policy and like everything will be fine.
I don't think you have to go to the
Guys,
policy.
the only thing that's going to stop Trump from winning is getting assassinated.
No, that's
Period.
not true. Like
They're not going to blow it. It's
Okay,
not going to
I was concerned about the JD pick because I was like, he's gonna say some dumb shit, and then like it's just gonna be like,
JD?
It's ha-
yeah, no, they're gonna be like, this is like a racist, misogynistic Care Bear, right?
No,
That's what people are gonna
JD
say.
is a pretty eloquent.
No, he already did it. He
educated dude.
called like he's like Kamala's like a cat lady. It's just like like
Oh, he did? Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
like this.
That shows our Twitter hours.
This shit is this. It's just like
Look,
stop
but I
stepping
wouldn't
on
worry.
race.
I just want to say, like, I wanted to talk to you today, and I wouldn't worry about it. I really wouldn't. Like,
I
think
am-
about, like,
I
there's
am
always
worried about
going
it.
to be-
I'm worried
there's-
about it.
Listen, there's always going to be ad hominem attacks. That happens. They did it to Trump, and it will happen in the other direction. They're human beings. They're playing the game, and they know that a lot of people don't vote on policies. You guys are misunderstanding that, like, a huge, vast majority of people are emotional voters, and they're just like, good person or bad
This
person?
is literally
Cool
my.
person
This is literally
or
my
uncool
point.
person? If you attack
No,
someone
hold on.
personally, it is beneficial.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Not in this sort of intellectual circle. If we just started personally assaulting each other, people would be like, "I'm not here for this podcast." They would go watch something else. They
Dude,
would go watch something else.
There are millions of people, many of them women, who are just dying for an excuse to vote for the orange man because like everything sucks so bad, and they're just like, man, like if he would just.
You've done that.
If I could just not think I was going to be like a
Don't
character.
worry. There's only a few worries. One is we don't know what the moves are on the chessboard that they've already planned. So you got to be 3 steps ahead of them, and no one is. Because
Who is being convinced to vote for Trump by calling Kamala a cat lady?
Dude, there's nobody being
The
convinced.
people
voting
are
for
not being
Kamala
convinced by that.
either. Like
Exactly.
It's like it's already a landslide.
No, that's not true. Like this.
You're just getting fooled by these poll numbers.
No, I'm
These are
not.
fake as fuck.
Look, this election is going to be whoever this election is a referendum on will be the loser. If the election is a referendum on Trump, he loses. If the election is a referendum on Biden and the Biden administration, they lose.
Can you?
If
can
you put
slow that down
yourself,
for me? What does that mean?
it means like if the election is about whether or not the people like or dislike you, you lose. If the election is whether or not the people like or dislike the other guy, they lose. Like right now, people don't like Biden. They don't like the Biden admin. Like you play prevent and defense, you just win the game. Like if you start like attacking this woman for all this like ad hominem shit, like you look like an asshole, and then like suddenly it becomes about
I don't think
you.
that they're going to do that long term.
They're literally doing
I think
it right
it's just
now.
A reaction. I get it. I hear you.
It's stupid.
It's stupid.
It's
I agree
stupid.
with you. They do need to ignore her. Ignorance of the opponent is by far the best
All
play.
she has to do
Just
is talk, and then
expose
people will
her
be like, "Oh, wait a
policies,
minute."
Get her to show up to a debate, and she will annihilate herself. I completely agree with you. It's just a reaction, and they are making a mistake.
I don't think she's going to be a pushover in a debate. I think like there are outs for her to like make Trump look very bad in a debate. Like if he gets a little out over his skis, and like she could like freaking dodge and punch him in the
as
face.
much as she is over her skis in terms of like the demand of this position that she's running for, she was a prosecutor.
Yeah,
And,
like I don't think she's. I think she's like extraordinarily like insincere, doesn't believe in anything.
I mean, the main thing.
power
she has-
hungry, but like I don't think she's stupid.
She's very
I
unburdened.
actually don't think she's stupid.
She's completely
Yes.
unburdened.
How do you
This
deal with
woman-
somebody who's completely
This
unburdened?
woman holds nothing. There's no past. She lives purely in the present.
Unburdened by what has been.
She's never been burdened by anything that has been. Only what can be.
So you're saying that because she's a prosecutor, she's going to be like well equipped for these debates?
Yes,
Is what you're saying.
for sure she will be.
And also, she's basically a Buddhist monk.
And she can like read the teleprompter, like where like Joe couldn't read shit.
Oh, she can read.
They're
She
like,
can read.
Did you see when they asked her about? She can read. She can play. She can play. You haven't been to the border. I don't understand what you're saying.
she's like,
Let's move forward.
she's like, and I haven't been to Europe either. And we're
We've
like, what?
been
Really?
we've
You haven't been to
been
Europe?
to the border. We've been to the border.
You're like
she
in
said
your
it 3 times.
40s?
We've been to the border. He's like, but you haven't been to the border. Yeah, I don't know what you're saying.
See, like play on that. That's a good strategy. But so she's a good reader. She can follow the script. My question is like, who's writing the script? And I got a main character in mind.
Nancy.
Yeah, Nancy is so good.
Oh my
She's the
God.
queen of the
Yes.
Bene Gesserit, dude.
Yes.
What is the quote? Like, our plans are made in centuries or something like that?
Yeah.
Damn, that's also the same plan as China.
Yeah. And I really think she is
she's
the
running.
ultimate power player. And people think it's Obama. I don't
running
think it is. Obama likes to like separate himself from the fray and not get involved. And then once the decision is made, he is like, you're clearly the winner. I will.
Are you certain that he's
Yeah,
not pulling
Obama's still
strings,
running
though?
shit.
I think he's running.
No,
plenty
I,
of strings.
I don't think he
pulling-
is.
The more powerful you are, the
No.
more disconnected you can be.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Look at the past ones. Like he even said when there was actual Democratic primaries, he wasn't putting his hand on the scales. He even said, "I do not want to tip the scales. I want there to be a winner."
He must have.
No, I'm
He
on
must
Team
have
Nick
meant
on
that.
this
and
one. I'm
maybe-
on Team Nick. He's not involved.
I don't think he's involved. I think it's Nancy. She is the best at it, and
Okay, so,
people follow her.
What makes you think that Nancy is the queen of the Bene Gesserit?
Well, first of
Her
all,
bank
it-
account?
yeah, her
Oh, yeah,
bank
so
account won.
first of
That
all-
actually is a great.
she's a better
Come
trader than
on.
Steven.
Yes.
She's a better trader than Steven for sure.
I want to be Nancy Pelosi. She wakes
She's
up,
annihilated.
checks her Nvidia calls, up 8,000%, cool, plus 200 million, love it. Sends a couple text messages like, get rid of the president, like nixes the president.
Yeah,
Goes
and
and plays pickleball probably.
and everyone's
She's probably a hell of a player.
everyone in their Democratic caucus is kind of like, damn, I kind of want Nancy's
all that before
portfolio.
9 a.m.
You know, like you got to imagine for decades she has been the power player. She has been the whip in that thing. In order to be the House of Representatives, you have to whip votes, even when people do not want to vote for it. So what do? You use leverage, you use power, you use a carrot, and you want that chairman seat? Cool, you'll get it, but you're going to follow me. And she has this like track record and history of doing this over and over and over again. She's the hand that gives and the hand that takes.
Question for Marty, if he's in the chat. What was the attack on Pelosi's husband? What was that about?
Ooh, that's probably just like the world kind of like swaying back, like the pendulum swaying back in a way that's probably not appropriate.
Not like a TPTB, not the powers that be.
Yeah, so
It's a gay prostitute.
I don't know if we have to pull this up, but there is a political article.
Don't clip me out of context on that.
That I put up in the card here, and it talks about the TikTok of how Biden decided to like leave the race, and it was simply a quote from Pelosi. We gave him 3 weeks of the easy way, and that is up, and now he will get the hard way. And the threat was...
Yeah, that's what my mom used to say.
Yeah, you just got 3 weeks of the easy way. Now you're going to go the hard way. That they, on Monday, were going to release, like, the real poll numbers that show, like, he will not win. They were always showing, like, oh, well, you know, in this character of this demographic, like, Biden wins. But they were going to come out and say, you know, not only here's the real numbers, Biden will not win. And you noticed it leading up to it. Her conversations were getting leaked. Her conversations do not normally get leaked, but she was the one leaking them. And so this started to play out. So I think she's the one who really tipped it over. And damn, give that woman credit.
Yeah.
I mean, she has power.
Queen Bee.
She was on MSNBC. They're like, what do you think about Biden? They're like, we'll trust he'll make the right decision. And they were like, he's made his decision.
What a
And she
mob
was
boss
like,
says.
yeah, well, you know, we'll see. We think he'll make the right decision.
So I've only
like, oh,
seen
God.
2 of the Dune movies, but I don't think the Queen of the Bene Gesserit actually wins.
Oh,
Ooh.
wait, you seen both of them?
I've seen 2 Dune movies, but I've read some books, and the Queen.
That's
of the,
true.
the
And
Queen of the
in
Bene
Game of
Gesserit
Thrones,
doesn't win.
Marjorie's grandmother also
This entire
doesn't win.
landscape is what we see is absolutely nothing, and beneath the surface is nothing but phone calls of blackmail. It's just blackmail after blackmail after blackmail after blackmail of who's got deeper and harder and dirtier blackmail.
Astronaut meme. Wait, it's all blackmail?
Yes.
Always has been.
The amount of blackmail
Always has
these people have on it, and the entire thing is being run by blackmail.
Can you imagine,
The
like,
entire
the
system.
4 of us, like, we're being friends, we're running a thing, we're doing a thing, but we all have Oppo research on each other? Like, and he'd be like, well,
It is
Who
an
has the most
incredibly-
dirt?
ooh, I don't know.
I mean,
I haven't
obviously-
kept a tally.
Obviously, you.
Yeah.
It's an incredible amount of blackmail that can pull strings, and that's what's happening. It's you know what the scary thing is for anyone who's seen House of Cards. It's House of Cards, but it's worse. That's what these last 2 weeks have illuminated. It's worse than the scariest scene of House of Cards.
Did you know that House of Cards was just like a CIA psyop? Just
No, it was a
program-
documentary,
just
brother. Like,
programming
what are you
you,
talking
just
about?
programming you to be like anti-Russian.
It's a documentary. What do you mean?
Everyone's really thinking about it.
All right, can we get some final
Yeah.
predictions here? Like, I mean, things will change. We'll get more predictions in the future. But like,
I mean, Kamala's not the president, and she's not the nominee.
okay, do you have a prediction for the nominee, or you don't know? You just know it's not her.
too
Put your money
far.
where your mouth is.
Anyone but Kamala.
Anyone but Kamala.
Okay.
There's no way this woman is the nominee.
Okay. Anyone else before we get to some fun
The
poly market
only,
stuff?
one caveat. If the propaganda machine that is currently testing, because it's always testing, it's a simulation that's running. She's extremely unpopular. Can we get her to be popular enough to see the data to show? Because there's fake data and then there's the real data. They're the ones aware of the real data. We're just being presented the fake data, to Eric's earlier point. They're looking and they're saying, can we get her and these dollars to be used in a productive way toward her being the nominee? If the scale tips toward the fact that, like, Trump falls for the bait, because it seems like he is a little bit to Stephen's concerns, and she becomes popular enough that people rally behind her, they may move forward with her as the nominee. However, given how unpopular she is, given the lack of a track record, given the lack of the fact that she's won elections, given the lack of, I mean, again, I asked earlier, I'm like, what was the election that she even, like, when has she, like,
I don't know, Attorney General
yeah,
of
Attorney
California.
General. So again, I
Does she
feel,
not win her Senate
I
election?
feel,
No.
yeah, I feel that she will not be the
Nice.
nominee. That's what my gut says.
All right. Anyone else? Predictions from here on out?
I mean, she's definitely the nom. I don't want to say definitely, but she's like at least 80% the nominee.
Let's bet on it.
I mean,
Are you going to lay me 5-1 odds?
yeah,
I mean,
that's what the poly
5 to
market's
1
doing.
odds would be good because
Wait, I'm gonna let you 5-1 odds.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Yeah, fuck. Doesn't sound as good when I say it that way.
professional gambler here is slipping.
I'll still do it.
Is this like our Mario Kart
He
bet?
botched it. He botched it.
My
All over again.
my $200 to your my $1,000 to your $200. How does gambling work? how does betting work? I don't know. I know nothing of this.
So
Eric, what do you
I'll
got?
do it. I'll put my money where my mouth is.
I have nothing to go on other than
10-1 earlier.
I have nothing to go on other than the fact that I have like complete faith that Kamala will be the nominee. But I think she will fall so short of what's required, and like there's nobody better. So like Armand is probably right that like she's not good enough, but like there's nobody better because anybody who is better wouldn't step in now. They would like take their shot at the next one.
No, there are people better. They just can't because how are you going to raise? I mean, I think they raised like over $100 million in the last.
Give me 7
36
to 1
hours?
odds, and I'll bet you each 100.
No, get the fuck.
That's easy money. Come on.
All right,
7-1. Yeah, I'll give you 7-1. My $700 to your $100.
That's a deal, boys. That's
wait,
it.
hold on. I don't know. What are we betting?
That she's the nominee.
Oh, Kamal's the nominee. Handshake. Deal.
Can you afford this, bro?
Armand, I just want you to be aware, like,
There's
disclosure document. You're going to lose $300 if you're wrong. here.
I've never bet that much money in my
Yeah,
life.
this is a
This
massive bet for you.
monumental.
You are already on your way to owing me a Pepe steak dinner at the end of the year.
Ooh, that's a good point.
And 2100 at Cowboy Stars coming your way. So I'll take you guys.
That'll
to
be
Cowboy
fun.
Stars.
Gonna be a
That'll
fun night,
day.
though.
That's gonna be a
fun night.
very fun.
Can you imagine we all just take Armand out to Cowboy Star? We each have to spend like $700 on him.
Mandatory.
I'm just gonna order Wagyu after Wagyu
You
after
just
Wagyu. Get more of that Wagyu.
Another bottle.
Armand's gonna be like, you cannot eat.
Watch me eat. Wait. Remember the Matrix when he watches him eat the steak? That's what it's gonna.
I thought that's what you're alluding to.
Screaming
in here.
Eagle. Thank you.
All right, so
This is exciting.
my prediction is Kamala is the nominee, and Trump wins except if Biden dies or Biden resigns from the presidency. If either of those things happen, Kamala wins.
What?
Why?
Why?
Okay, I posted this in the
Obviously,
Discord.
he had a follow up to this. He
Yeah, I
knew
read
we were
this.
going to say
I
why.
read this.
In the
Good job
Discord.
asking why.
Imagine the cinematography, right? Like imagine this movie, the season 9 of America. Okay, and the script writers are writing this
Season 9.
out, and Biden dies, right? Terrible moment, week of mourning. Kamala is like the presider of the week in mourning. They anoint her president. She says in a leadership position. I mean, she literally sucks the wind out of the Trump like message. And if this comes within 6 weeks of voting day, because remember, voting day is when people go to the polls, but people start voting well before that through ballots.
What's
Sure.
like? What do they call it? It's called an October surprise or something. What do they call that thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
always an
yeah.
October surprise.
Yeah.
So, or if he
That's when
resigns,
our Black Swan is coming.
if he
Which
resigns,
is when Kamala gets swapped.
same thing. She gets sworn in. I mean, just the imagery of that will suck the wind out of everything. And I think if either of those two things happen, she takes the cake. All right. So
like it.
Anything in
let's-
the chat? Anything good in the chat?
I don't know. I haven't seen any heaters in the chat.
Okay,
Can we?
are we talking about Kamala Bitcoin?
No. So actually, we're gonna talk about that last.
Okay.
I do want to get to Steven's segment. So there's a
Poly
segment
Market.
called Poly Market Trades of
I
the
got
Week.
it. I got it.
Cool. So Steven, you want to walk us through these because we should have done better on this last one. So let's learn from our mistakes and see what opportunities lie.
All right, baby. I'm picking up nickels in front of roller coasters, locomotives this week.
Okay.
I'm doing the Eric strategy. I am selling or buying the Democrats, I guess, in all of the like California. Okay, 6% in California.
Wait. What's the bet? What's the prop?
94% for Democrats to win California.
Like in terms of electoral votes.
Yeah, electoral votes.
Okay.
This is literally free money.
Armand, I think there's the image. Did you post the image in the card?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's pull up the card, and there we go.
94%. The odds of this are 100. 99.8.
Like,
Sorry.
has California voted Republican in our lifetime?
Did they
our
vote for Reagan?
lifetime?
In our
Probably.
lifetime?
The last one was 1980 something.
Reagan.
Yeah.
Gotta be Reagan.
Reagan.
Got to be Reagan.
Like, what would have to happen
1980.
for California to go red in the election?
So
I don't
you're
know.
saying
Like,
that
what could you even in your head construct a scenario?
So when does this bet get settled? In November? Is
November.
It's in November.
So what is a 6% return from here to November annualized? at?
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Pretty nice, right?
Yeah.
You're no stranger to the writing
Yeah,
of the puts,
yeah,
the naked calls.
yeah. I don't get 6% on my weeklies. So yeah, 6% on
It was
a
right before Bush.
on a couple month. That's pretty
Look,
solid.
assuming you manage your risk properly.
Yeah, I guess I just don't follow politics enough to know that this is 100-0.
It's like 100-0. Like it's a lock. It's like the lock of all locks.
All right, so you're buying.
It was
It's
Bush.
94%. Oh, wait, who?
88 Bush.
Okay.
Okay.
88, but that's not that long ago.
No, but it's been
Lifetime
so
ago.
overwhelmingly
Lifetime ago.
It's not even close.
Democrat since then.
So you're saying you buy 95 cents, sell it 100, you make 5 divided by 95. So yeah, you're making like a 6% return.
Way more.
Wait, Annualized.
Annual. Like what is
Oh,
it? It's,
annualized.
what is it? July 24th today.
So you got
So
3 months out.
Basically, it's like 3 months.
You got 24%.
It's like 25%.
Okay.
Okay.
I like it. What else
Sure.
you got? You got anything else?
Sure. Yeah. I'm also all of these states, New York, California, like these things are like it's a joke.
The
Nickels.
bluest of the blue states.
We're picking up nickels, baby.
I think there's
Picking up
actually
nickels.
quite a bit of nickels in Polymarket. There's a lot of them.
There's also an interesting nickel. Like if you, I don't know if we have the live thing, but if you pull up like some of the Ethereum bets, like Ethereum 10K end of year, like you can actually like arbitrage some of these things, not for like massive size.
Hold on. So you would say you'd bet against Ethereum 10K, but then you're long Ethereum anyways.
Like Polymarket is like 14% chance of Ethereum 10K by end of year, but like the options market, like if you look at the delta of like Ethereum calls, it's like 6% probability. So it's
Particularly for our audience, who's like
Pretty big
already
gap.
like long ETH. You know, this is like covered calls.
but our audience would never do like our audience isn't arbing.
yeah,
They're
maybe
not like, oh, cool, sick arb, baby.
some are.
Some are.
I think this is like an interesting. I don't know. I think Polymarket's super interesting. I think
Hey, how big
There's
is
some cool
Polymarket?
trades
like,
there.
what's the TVL or what's a better measurement?
This
for
is
that?
as far as like the conversation goes in the world and what's on media. This is like one of the biggest use cases for crypto right
Yeah.
now. Right now.
Yeah.
Is
Right,
this,
like,
finally a use case for the blockchain.
Polymarket is being mentioned on
and it's
CNBC,
on
Bloomberg.
Polygon.
It is. I
It's-
saw that.
It's on Polygon. It's not.
It's on a
like-
side chain.
So it's
Sadly,
on EVM, but not Ethereum.
it is
Right.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, still no use cases for
Oops.
Ethereum.
Ugh. Fuck.
Still
Okay,
none.
so let's talk about.
Polygon, all your money gone.
Can we talk about our bags and Kamala? Because some things have come up, and then we'll take a quick little break, and then we'll do the ETH IPO. Okay, so it came out that Kamala might talk about the Bitcoin conference. It sounds like RFKR, Trump is. She's not going to speak there, but apparently her campaign reached out to Mark Cuban, and it sounds like Novogratz is highly confident that Kamala will be crypto friendly. So let's just focus on our bags. for a bit.
Novogratz has never made any bad decisions.
Yeah, I kind of like Novorats actually.
Do
I-
you?
Perhaps etched in indelible ink on his arm.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do you mean he's kind of like Luna, just tattooed
No,
on his
I like
arm?
it. I actually like him.
I mean, I don't mind him either. Like, he makes a lot of bold
I don't
calls.
dislike him. I'm just not taking tattoo advice from him.
Okay, fair enough. There's a tweet by Tyler Winklevoss. So I want to just present this as like the starter. He says, talk is cheap. She would need to start by immediately firing Gary Gensler, withdrawing all SEC Gov enforcement actions against good actors, and ending Operation Choke Point 2.0. She won't do this, so she won't stand a chance in winning back the crypto voting bloc. Time for change. Okay, so the lines are set. What do you think?
If Kamala got on TV and just like put Gary in one of those like dunk tanks and just like threw a fastball and dunked his ass, like I would consider voting for her.
Okay.
Wow, you're a single issue guy.
It would have to look, but it's not even single issue. It'd be single issue, but with flair. I need the dramatic flair on top of it. She's really gonna sell it to
Kamala,
me.
if you're listening, I got one vote for you.
I like switching the camera
If she
over to
dunks
Armand
Gary
going,
into like a dunk tank,
Did you?
market buys like $1 billion in Bitcoin on the
Didn't do
treasury
that.
account, and just sends it to the burn address. Just goes full YOLO. Like I'll be like, okay.
I mean, are you any of you guys buying this at all? Like, are you buying that this is a possibility that we might have like a?
Dude,
like,
I'm buying a possibility of like weird shit happening with crypto. So like, there's talk recently about the Treasury Reserve buying some Bitcoin and stuff.
I mean, Trump is speaking at the Bitcoin conference. That's soon, right? And it is rumored he's going to put Bitcoin in the strategic reserve, or
I mean,
say he will.
Can you imagine? Like that would be fucking.
I mean, Trump has been putting his actions where his mouth is.
It's something.
much more than
It's
anyone
something
else.
Trump would do.
Okay, can we like? I'll be honest. Like, I'm for him over Harris or Biden, but like, just remember the guy lies like every other sentence out of his mouth.
Okay,
Call him an over exaggerator, but like this guy,
Yeah, no.
just like
there's a
riffs
difference.
off the most
There's
bullshit
a difference
policies
between
that he
being
never
like
does.
kind of like a windy bullshitter and like being like a fucking liar. Like Kamala is just like a liar. Trump is
I mean,
like if you just lie all the time, but you're like people kind of know what you're talking about. They're like, yeah, well, no, it's not serious. It's not, like in a way, like you're suddenly
Yeah,
I
think
call the
Trump's
exaggeration.
there's like an
exaggerator.
authenticity to your.
and we all do that.
bullshittery.
You tell stories, you like fluff them up a little bit to
Well,
like
Trump,
make it.
Trump was trained to do that since he was a
yeah, okay,
juvenile.
that's one.
You
But
have,
like,
you have to take Trump seriously, but not literally.
But, like-
if you take him literally, your brain will explode.
this is the same guy who sent many policies that he just never even did, and like also the election denial thing
I
is
don't,
like
I
a
don't
whole
think
different
that's true.
category.
I think he enacted everything he ever promised.
Get the fuck out of here. Let's just remind ourselves, because I feel like we're gonna have a little remorse after if he does get elected. We're like, oh wait, we elected that fucking idiot.
No,
Yeah,
Trump,
he's
like-
such an
Trump,
idiot.
Trump
Yeah.
is constantly testing to see if his ideas stick. Like the no tips on, no taxes on tips was just a test, and he was like,
Yeah, Nick,
oh shit,
you
this
should
is
the wall.
popular.
You should love him. He's just live split testing web
He's
pages.
constantly
They're split testing Kamala
Exactly.
right now. They're
He's
both
just
direct
like-
response markers.
He's just like no.
No.
Kamala's just lying.
One's
but
a
like
liar.
Trump's just like, what if
One's
I
a
jack the
liar,
what if I jack the
one's a
cost of this
capitalist.
product up by 50%? What's my conversion
What
rate
would
look
happen?
like?
Exactly.
all right. I just want to remind ourselves of that. So like he
That's a good deep breath, bro.
oh fucking hell. so like this guy says he's gonna do it. I do think I don't believe anything that what Mark Cuban, her curiosity does not mean she's a proponent. Novogratz is more hopeful than he is confident, and Trump is actually taking in crypto,
Okay,
holds crypto.
but if I was like Nick, you have to place a $100,000 bet on who is more likely to actually make Bitcoin a strategic reserve asset. I know for a fact your logic would be like, well, Trump's kind of retarded. He'd probably do it. Like that would be your logic.
Like the guy is the pro.
Sorry, I keep saying it.
Yeah, you're
I'm
not supposed to
sorry.
say that.
You
I
love
can't,
it.
but I can't think of it better.
It's
Sorry, Trump's kind of mentally challenged. He'll probably do it. It just doesn't have the same
doesn't ring.
It's almost
true.
more insulting when you say mentally
Yeah.
challenged, because like
it
I
is
know.
actually
Yeah.
much more
I
insulting.
feel like I gotta say it with the Boston accent too. They'd be
it
like,
cuts through.
retarded.
yeah. That's better. Just sink the
It's
accent.
like it
in.
softens it a little bit, you know.
But I mean,
At least you're not calling one of us the R word. You know.
yeah, I
I
mean that would
missed
never
that.
happen amongst friends, right,
I
guys?
missed
I would
right,
that.
I would never do it.
right, Eric, right?
Yeah, I've definitely never been called the R word by anybody here of partial Asian descent.
Screaming top of my lungs.
I don't know. I think
Across
that's it's a
I-
word of endearment.
I realized I just said that, and the three of you are all technically partially Asian descent. So
Pacific Islander,
it's a
my
big
friend.
continent.
checkmate.
Okay, so is anyone buying this? Doesn't sound like any of you guys are.
That she will actually be pro crypto.
Yeah, that it's a non-partisan
No,
issue now.
I think there's a good chance it does become a nonpartisan issue because I think politicians respond to money, and I think there's this wakening up to the idea that the crypto industry is actually throwing around like a fuck ton of money. Like it's like the highest spending special interest group right now, right?
I actually want to
It's
say
like kinda
something
crazy.
about this. So, you guys know that I don't care, right? Like, I don't care.
About literally
Yeah,
anything.
I don't care. But
Oh my God.
But when I see when I like one of the reasons why I don't care is because I think about like what are you going to do? What do you like? I'm gonna like point at you. What are you gonna
Things
do?
you can
What are
control, right?
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I'm doing it.
We're like in a way we are doing it, right? Like we're on a podcast.
But that's what I believe. You don't believe that?
I mean we are indirectly doing it right now.
That's
like,
what agency is.
right. So we're like in a way we're like on a podcast. We're like talking about the things we want to talk about, and we're doing it. Like the direct way to do it is to vote. Another like indirect way to do it is to like make your voice heard, right? And like that's kind of what we're doing. But like one thing that I'll commend crypto at large for doing is like making their voice heard. You know, like crypto Twitter has like made their voice heard, and like it's beyond crypto Twitter, but it's like all crypto holders have made their voice heard to a degree where like both sides of the aisle now are like, holy shit, we got to talk to these morons.
But you
And, like,
you guys disagreed with me on this. It's like it's partially money, but a lot of it comes down to the agency of people and their desire. Like to a certain degree, this is where I still have belief that we live in a democracy. If ideas are important enough to people and they're willing to wake up and fight for them, and people have agency and they come together and they band together and they say, this issue is important, things can change.
Best
and that's why
system ever.
waking up is important. It's extremely important. And so, because America understands that if the smartest people, the money generators, the technology, things like crypto just suddenly leave because policies are not favorable to them and they all move to Portugal, then America is no longer America. That's why Trump didn't just wake up one day and go like, crypto's so awesome, I really want to be a blockchain advocate. No, he saw that this is an opportunity to keep the brain power here.
yeah, they puddle in votes.
Exactly. Yes. And so democracy isn't a complete sham in the sense that if we wake up, if we have agency, if we care, if we band together, if we share the ideas, if we share the truth, it's very meaningful. That's why even people like Kamala are like, damn, I guess this is important enough that I need to give it attention. If I go against this narrative and the sovereignty that individuals want on the blockchain by owning cryptocurrency, that's going to be detrimental to my campaign.
Dude, crypto is like the best example of like a grassroots campaign
Yes.
turning into something tangible.
No,
Like,
it's the
is.
best example of money in politics. Like it is
Okay.
the best example of like, oh, you have money? Yeah, I'll talk about your thing. What do you want me to say? Strategic reserve? Yeah, that doesn't actually do anything. Yeah, sure, I'll say
You're
that.
saying
How
it's
much
good-
are you going to give me?
It's good to be rich, huh?
Yeah.
Funny how that
But
works.
it started as an idea. It
It's
started
crazy
as
that
a
it's-
technology.
like,
True,
it started
I
with-
agree.
Now there's money.
Yeah. It started with fucking Satoshi
It started with
creating this
Satoshi,
thing. Like,
yeah.
and that's fucking wild.
A vision, a white paper.
A white paper.
It was a good white paper.
And I love that. And I think that's like
It's
why
part of my annual reading.
I like harken back to Warren Buffett, who's like, no, this is the best system, and this system will fucking continue to thrive. 'Cause
It is,
fucking
as
will.
long as we can maintain the corruption to
Contain it.
contain. Thank
yeah.
you.
I mean, I'm
Contain.
okay if it happens as long as it's out in the open. Just like let's expose it. Let's try to make it as available as possible. It's gonna happen, but let's just put it out there. But it's on everyone's own, self to like.
Well, dude, I'm also thankful I'm thankful for all the whistleblowers, like even beyond like the people who are paid to be whistleblowers, but like the like the guerrilla whistleblowers who are like on Twitter that aren't even paid to do this, because they're the ones keeping this shit.
Dude, whistleblowers are.
Contained.
It's a profitable business. To like,
blowing whistles.
yeah, I think you get a rip on what they collect for fines.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you get a rip.
I got some whistles to blow.
Do blow them.
Really?
I
I
mean,
didn't know
you
that.
could make some cash.
I didn't know
I
that.
just realized I've had way too much old fashioned.
No.
great?
Continue, brother.
I put this camera on Steven. I wish I could zoom.
Yeah,
right
just
in.
zoom right in on the face. All right, well, why don't you zoom in on this guy? Because
Yeah.
let's give a shout out to Magic Spoon.
idea.
MagicSpoon.com/alfalfa is the link. If you use alfalfa as the coupon code, you get $5 off the variety pack. The flavors are cocoa, fruity, peanut butter, and frosted. This pack right here has 0 grams of total sugar, 4 grams of net carbs, 13 grams of protein, That might be nice. Today was workout day, so that would be nice. There's 140 calories in each serving. I probably have more than one serving every time I dip into the box. But yeah, go to magicspoon.com/alfalfa, and if you use the promo code, you get $5 off. And also, if you don't like it, the kids don't like it, you can return it with no questions asked, get your money back. But check it out. Also heard it just showed up in Costco, at least in the San Diego Costco. So Magic Spoon growing.
Thanks, brother.
Hey, my name is Steven, and I just realized how many old fashions I have, so I'm going to have a beer now.
He's gonna slow it down. He's gonna slow her down. Cool your jets, Steven.
All right, Steven, I'm gonna throw this to you about the Ethereum IPO, the ETF that just launched, and I'm gonna take a little break, but I would like you to comment on the fact that there were negative flows in the first day. Okay, good luck.
Negative?
Okay, so I feel like I should. Is he trolling me?
Interpret it as you will.
All right. So for the audience listening, that may have been a joke. There were not negative flows in the first day.
But
I got a little
ETH
scared
how's
that I
ETH price doing?
misunderstood.
All right, Nick's a robot, so that he didn't make a mistake there. He was trolling us.
Okay.
So for those who aren't aware, yesterday the Ethereum ETF started trading.
God, and just
Huge
FYI,
day.
Do you remember when we had the Bitcoin ETF launch? We were like celebrating. We're not doing shit on this one.
Yeah, because the veil has been lifted.
Okay, keep
Speak-
going.
Speak
What
for
should we
yourself.
do?
Keep going. Keep
I'm
going.
celebrating.
Speak for yourself.
I guess we're celebrating.
I'm celebrating. Here,
ETH.
cheers, brother.
Yeah, ETH price. Fucking
know?
lovely, dude.
Lovely. Lovely little thing.
So interesting
like a
interesting
bird.
day yesterday for the ETH ETFs. I don't have any numbers in front of me, so I'm just gonna rip this shit from memory.
Yeah,
But
I'll fact check you.
we did, depending on your source for numbers, I think 1 to 1.3 billion or so in volume. So if you zoom out, this was basically, I think, the second biggest ETF launch in the history of ETFs,
Next to Bitcoin.
next to Bitcoin. Yes.
How big was that?
I don't know exactly how much Bitcoin did.
It was like market cap weighted equivalent to the size of Ethereum's.
Market cap weighted. Okay.
Yeah.
I do know that,
Cool.
I mean, Bitcoin did about, I think, 750 mil or so in flows on day one, like aside from Grayscale. I think they did like 650 million net. Ethereum did about like 100-something million net. There was a massive outflow from the Grayscale ETF, which has had all this ETH captive at 2.5%.
It's weird though because captive is. I don't want to derail you. Sorry. Like, keep going.
No, I agree. It's a weird thing. We could talk about this, but like,
I do want to talk about
you
that.
know, just raw numbers. I think the Grayscale ETF saw like 450 million-ish in outflows yesterday, which is crazy big. But then like overall in the day, ETH still printed 100 million in inflows, $1 billion in trading volume. In my book, this is like wild success because I think with the ETH ETF, everybody is so PTSD'd and bearish that like the number one thing yesterday was to just like not have a huge fucking fail. And I think there was a chance there could be a huge fail. We saw like the ETH futures ETF, which was different circumstances, but you remember when that thing launched, or maybe you don't.
Yeah.
Crickets
There was
during
literally no
It
volume.
was like, I swear to God, it did like $30,000 in volume.
And then like,
It's like
and in the middle of that, there was
complete
like
disaster.
There was like a Chinese ETF or something. There was like another ETH ETF that launched. So
I mean, Hong Kong had one, but you know,
Yeah.
it's Hong Kong. Today, numbers just came out. I think we saw like another huge outflow day from Grayscale. I think another 300 or 400 million. So there's been like $1 billion being dumped on ETH from Grayscale alone in the last 2 days.
Mhm.
But by your numbers, should be a net inflow of $100 million.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
We don't know all the numbers for today. It's almost certainly going to be a net outflow day today, I think. Rough day trading, price is down like 4.5% or something, depending on when you start the day. But also, it's like worth pointing out, like one of the worst days in
The
2
market.
decades
Yeah, Nasdaq's
roughly
down nearly 4%.
in the
4%.
Nasdaq. We're raced like trillions in market cap across like the two stock markets. the two major indices.
Nick, did you have a stat on that? Like, was this like one of the biggest decreases in terms of market cap of all time?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't remember the date you go back to when was the biggest loss, but
What did that all have to do with?
earnings. Earnings.
Was it earnings day?
Tesla came out, not good. I think Ford came out. Google, like people just not hitting expectations or forecasting lower. So, you know, to keep the bull market going, you don't necessarily want to see earnings like not meet expectations. But yeah, we had quite the bloodbath today.
Well, I have a selfish question. What are you guys doing with all? I don't know. I think you all have some ETH, grayscale ETH.
Sure
How do you
do.
play that now? Do you do what everyone seems to be doing?
For sure.
That's a
And
great
swap.
question.
Swap it out.
And just like walk me through the options.
Okay.
I'm holding it for a year.
Yeah, walk me through the.
'Cause you
logic
want to
and the
hit capital
options.
gains.
So you
I
want
mean, I
to.
bought it like a month ago.
Yeah. So so walk me through like if you bought it in within a year
All right.
versus over a year.
So your options are hold it for at least 12 months so you can get capital gains tax on the gains, assuming there are gains.
Mhm.
The other option is you go to the cheapest ETF, which is, I believe, also the Grayscale Trust, 15 basis points.
The mini.
ETH
But isn't
mini.
it like a temporary? Oh, that's cool though.
No, it's
So-
not temporary. This thing is
it's-
permanent.
Oh, they changed.
They have
their-
two. They have two offerings.
Oh.
Yeah.
ETH is the original,
Uh-huh.
and they have
ETH.
ETH.
the mini,
Yeah.
which is the cheapest on a fee basis.
Okay.
Okay. Your other options are if you want to go with the ethos of Ethereum, you can go to Bitwise. Van Eck.
Van Eck.
Van Eck is the one. I think it's ETH.
What's the difference between Grayscale's ETF, ETH, and Van Eck?
So
or
Van Eck is going to take 10% of their
BlackRock's or
Yeah, so Van Eck's going to take 10% of their profits and give it to Ethereum developers.
oh,
And they're also use ENS names. They've like the first to say like, hey, here's our addresses where you can see it. So, you know, the follows more the
protocol
ethos.
friendly.
Yeah, I think so.
The only other difference I would point out is that there's who custodies the assets, right? So like you could custody with Coinbase or you could custody with Gemini.
But they're custodying like 8 of 9 of them, right? Or 7 of 8 of them.
Coinbase is custodying most of them,
Yeah.
but some of them are with Gemini, and
Which ones are? Do you know?
not off the top of my head, but
Grayscale and Van Eck are Coinbase.
I'm not positive. But like
Okay.
it's like 8 out of 10 are Coinbase.
So if you
And
don't
then-
have a huge tax hit, like say you bought a month ago and you're Steven and it's basically like flat or you're at a loss.
It's a simple math equation, right? It's
Yeah.
like, what's the difference between cap gains and ordinary income? Like, if you're in, some particular state, that might be like 20 or 25%. So it's like, do you want to incur 25%, or do you want to pay 2.5% in fees?
in fees.
And
yeah.
like for a lot of people, it's going to be that.
Okay.
And for this reason, like I was definitely wrong about the outflows. I was of the mindset that because people had all this time leading up to the ETF, because the discount between the Grayscale ETF and the price of ETH narrowed to basically zero beforehand.
it went to
It went
a
positive
premium.
at one point.
It went to a premium. So like I was
Recently, you mean?
Yeah, like within the last month, it went to a premium. So I was with Steven thinking that like grayscalers would have already dumped because like their holdings
Yeah.
already
Traded at a premium.
Traded at a premium.
But what if you're like me and you bought at a big discount months ago?
You're probably doing great, and now your analysis depends on how you want to handle your tax
Mm-hmm.
income versus like. And that's a convoluted answer. It's like how much money do you make, and like what tax bracket do you fall into?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you're probably up at least 25% if you bought it when it was a discount of
the
25%.
Right.
So it might be worth just being like, screw it, I'll take the 2.5% rip these guys are going to take on me because I'm going to save more and by taking cap
So
gains.
say ETH is flat in price from the time that you bought it 3 months ago, but you bought it at a 20% discount. So you factor in that 20% discount, and you're basically looking at it and comparing that to the rate that Grayscale ETH charges
Yeah.
versus like what's the rate on their new ETH?
Like
0.1?
0.15%.
It's not the discount. It's just like moving forward, you're going to pay this much in fees versus
2.5%.
That's what
and this much
that's
is
what I'm saying.
okay.
The
Yeah,
fee.
it's just this is the fee versus this is the diff in short-term and long-term capital gains.
I mean, I think that it makes sense to like avoid capital gains tax if you're
Yeah.
up 20%, 25%. I mean, you know, in California at least.
You're still paying it.
Yeah, you're going to pay in California, but like it's a good enough chunk, like 10%
Depends
ish.
how much money you make.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I know there's a lot of people out there that followed that advice.
And they did this weird thing
By
where
the
they
way, that was not financial advice.
Yeah.
But that was something we talked about that we did.
It was a
And
good
so
trade.
I know there's a lot of people that did that.
good
So
trade.
I just wanted to make sure we really clarify the play of what you guys are thinking now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, generally bullish about this whole initial first 2 days.
Like, look, if I take a step back and look at myself objectively speaking, I'm very aware that like I harbor too much emotional attachment to this asset. Like, I definitely am not thinking about this thing. Like, I think when I think of Solana, like I don't care. I don't like it. I don't hate it. I'm just like, will I make money buying it? Will I make money selling it? Right? But like, it's like obviously if you spend a bunch of money on a little NFT and it's your profile pic and like you followed this thing for like
7 years.
a decade at
Yeah.
this point, like basically followed it almost since its inception. Like you develop like a little bit of an emotional attachment, and
I just realized I'm the Eric of crypto.
You don't care.
I
Pure
do
Zen.
not care.
Pure Zen mode.
I don't have any emotional attachment to ETH whatsoever.
I'll be honest. I've become the Eric.
You are not.
No. I've become
Eric
myself
within.
within crypto too. I actually still don't care.
Oh
about,
yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
you don't have any like emotion. You're not tilting
I
at all
don't
on
know
ETH.
if
It's like
that's
you're
true.
purely objective on
I don't know.
Ether,
You
the
love
asset.
that baby.
I don't want to derail the conversation, but like with like the price action that ETH has taken, particularly like in light of Bitcoin's price action since the ETH or the Bitcoin ETF flows, like we can like dump data on top of each other, right? Like we've seen like so many flows, this or that or whatever, and the price doesn't fucking beat like my fucking covered call strategy on blue chips. Like I don't give a fuck. Like I literally just don't. I just it's like it's
You got
become
other
like-
options.
It's become like a fifth of my hierarchy need.
But you also own a lot of it. I know you own a lot of it.
I own I own a lot of it,
And I think that's been a mental shift that you've made in a positive way over the last 6 months, though, which is great. I think it's good to be
Dude.
apathetic financially speaking.
dude, like if I could be honest with you guys, like, and if we were like gonna say that we're gonna have a Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF, and price was gonna be where it is, I'd
You wouldn't
be
have
like,
done it.
I'd be like, you're bullshitting me. Like it's gonna be way higher.
Yeah.
The fact that it is where it is, like, I can just like focus energy elsewhere where like price is moving, and like it's crazy to me to like take this like risk in these ecosystems that don't justify their price. They frankly
don't.
they don't.
They don't.
But like I still own a fuckload of both. Like I do, but like it's just not where I'm placing energy. And
Yeah,
I
it's just been a rough year, though.
I
That's-
so disagree with the last throwaway comment you made, though.
that I own a fuckload of both.
No, that
or-
like the price isn't justified.
No, the price is not justified at all. Like
The price is this thing is cheap as fuck. Like
no,
this thing is going to be a multiple $10,000 like this thing is worth it's like fucking Home Depot. It's gonna settle like all of the world's financial value in
I mean,
like
that-
5 years.
that was my thesis going so heavy in initially, and I agree. But like, okay, here's like a reasonable comp. Like, and it's not a comp at all, but it's like there's opportunity costs. There's like alternatives at all times, right? Like if you put your money in ETH, you're not putting your money in anything else.
Everything you're saying makes sense in the last year, but I still think from this moment on through next summer, which is when I'll be selling all my crypto,
Ooh, whoa, hot take.
Wow, fortune
your
teller.
ETH BTC will far outperform your Nvidia or stock
I
holdings.
fucking hope so, dude.
No,
'cause
it will.
I hope so.
And if
I
it
own a
doesn't,
fuckload of it.
then we're in the wrong like
Well,
asset class.
let me just like
to Steven's point though.
let me explain
I
why
don't
I'm.
say this often, but I agree with Armand.
I'm exiting Bitcoin at $120,000 to $40,000,
For,
and
forever?
then like whatever the
Ever?
ETH/BTC ratio is at that time, I assume it will be more beneficial toward
Kind of
ETH.
with Armand, like,
But, like,
hits that
you're
those
not
numbers,
gonna-
I'm out.
You're not going to triple your Nvidia holdings between now and then. You're far the beta is ETH/BTC. So like I still think like even though it's been a difficult year and we're in a bull market, next summer, April through August, I'm doing the 3-pronged sale exit. I'm out.
Okay. Before you guys say anything, I want Steven to finish his thought. So
Hold on, I had a thought before.
Oh,
I
you
finished.
all right? Go.
My thought was this: like another like we're going through like corporate earnings season right now. Okay, some were bad. Like Tesla came out a little below whatever, and like you might attribute this pullback in the Nasdaq 3.6% down to like corporate earnings, or it might just be like the normal vicissitudes of like what happens in markets, right? Like I think a guy like Chem would say like this has nothing to do with earnings. It has everything to do with like
Flows.
flows and rotations or whatever. And I don't know. I don't know that. But what I do know is that Chipotle came out with their earnings today, and Chipotle's earnings were great, and the stock's up 10%. And you know what? I've owned fucking Chipotle stock for like 5 years.
Oh, you're
And you
so
know what-
up.
You know what it's done? 5x over 5 years. Okay, like that's a good business that generates money,
That's
and
awesome.
it's 5x. So I'm looking at like Ethereum, and I'm like, okay, so like I'm taking more risk naturally because there's like more uncertainty. And is that going to continue to outperform? Just like what I'm trying to say is that investing isn't that hard, but we're like trying to make it really hard. And like if Ethereum works, I'm fucking dancing because I have a fuckload of it.
But look, historical performance has showed as long as you don't need liquidity and you're willing to withstand the volatility, it's a higher risk asset that's going to outperform everything.
But I actually just like don't know if that.
It is true. It has been true.
No,
I don't know if it'll be true going forward into the next cycles.
yeah, because
We
like
don't know that.
because like here's what like the CFAs would say is like when you have a higher beta asset, it will outperform given a long enough time horizon. But it's like things were higher beta that didn't win. You know, like higher beta things like during the .com bubble, there was like fucking things like JDS Uniphase that went to 0 and were high beta. You know, like
I think
it
we're
went
past,
from fucking
Well, wait a
it
second.
went to $1
We're-
to 1,000
we
to
just
0.
we just launched an ETF. We're past the going to 0 thing.
Yeah, I guess what I'm. Here's my big question, and this is to all you guys. It's like Bitcoin. We've had like positive flows. If you like follow James Seifert and those other the other dude, like with positive flows forever, price same. Ethereum positive flows, price down. Like
No, but not price the same because like Bitcoin is up significantly since the
inflows.
ETF launch. Like it did dip initially after the launch,
It dipped
went
a
down
lot.
20%,
A lot, by the way.
20%, and then like we saw like an enormous return since then.
But if you guys like follow the flows, price does not follow the flows at all.
Agreed.
Wait,
It's not
hold-
like oh
wait,
shit, there was a
hold
massive
up.
inflow today.
Hold up. You're saying price doesn't follow flows?
I think Eric's correct. It didn't.
No.
It didn't follow it
Wait.
in the sense that no. Yeah. You
No,
had
the idea
massive-
the idea that the price of an asset, broadly speaking, doesn't follow the flows, I think is ludicrous.
That's
But-
not. I don't think what you're
I don't
saying.
think that's what
No,
he's
hold
saying.
on. Like I think that is like a reasonable question to ask because shouldn't it like almost precisely follow the flows? Like that's the point of the price is that it follows the flows.
Yes, but like people like when people talk about flow, they isolate it to one little subset of the flow and they make like a tweet about it. And they're like,
Okay,
look at this.
so with Bitcoin, for instance, what the narrative has been is that you have like multiple flows that we're not measuring. So
Right.
one is you have like spot buying, and then you have like futures selling, right?
And
Is-
also miners selling, and there's a lot of flows that you necessarily
Well,
can't measure.
Right. So like I guess what I'm trying to say is like ETH IPO right? Like we're gonna like follow these flows because Steven just mentioned them, but like we can also acknowledge that they're pretty fucking meaningless.
Wait, no, I don't acknowledge that. What are you talking about?
I'm saying that they're meaningless because if you follow the flows of the Bitcoin ETF, they have been meaningless.
I don't. No, I don't agree with that at all. What do you mean they've been meaningless?
Because the flows, even since Bitcoin hit $60,000, the flows have been positive every fucking month.
But this is my point. You're isolating flows as in like TradFi flows.
And I've also talked to your counterpoint, which is futures negative flows.
It's not just futures. It's like there are like whales and like old holders just like dumping spot Bitcoin. Like you had like a $500 million inflow day the other day and price went down. That's not like
Exactly.
because like no, exactly is my point. It's because like if you focus on like flows is ETF flows, then your conclusion is like nihilistic. Like, oh, none of this matters. Flows are $500 million and price went down. But in reality, you're just not focusing on the totality of flows. Like, of course, the totality of flows matters. You just have to
Price
zoom out and be
price
like, what does that
literally-
mean?
Like price does literally follow the flows on the margin. That's like what price is.
Yes, that's my argument. Like, I think you're saying like that's not the case.
No, it is the case.
Yes, of
And
course
it's
that's
like-
the case.
And like, so we get a ETH ETF, and people think ETF means Zoom. It doesn't, because we got a bunch of fucking insiders that are gonna sell. We got futures working against us. Like, and in the meantime, there's like other things that I own that are just fucking working.
All right, Steven, let's go back to your original comment. You didn't get to finish, but you mentioned how you were objectively viewing yourself. You acknowledge that you're tilting. You're emotionally attached to said asset. So what are you thinking?
I fight these battles in myself a lot where like my brain thinks good thoughts, but it's like hard for me to be disciplined and stay in the thoughts. Like I think at the beginning of the year, I told everybody like this was going to be a shitty year for ETH, and it was kind of a shitty year for ETH. And in spite of that, like, so like I'm balancing that, but at the same time, like I've also made very bad long-term decisions. Like I believed in Bitcoin in 2008. I tried to buy Bitcoin at like 10 cents. I bought a bunch of Bitcoin at $100 and I sold it at $200, right? Like, so it's this constant battle between like these short-term blips and the long-term thesis and like trying to balance these things, right? And I truly believe in the long-term Ethereum thesis. I also think it's like very obvious in the short term that we are now getting fucked by flows, right? Like I did think these flows wouldn't be a big deal out of Grayscale. They clearly are, right? And that sucks. And you're getting dumped on now as like an ETH holder. But like, if you think you're going to buy like a $20 trillion asset class that nobody knows about or appreciates, and you're just going to buy it at the exact moment it inflects up, and you're never going to have a drawdown, and you're never going to like undergo any pain, and you're just going to make like a 100x, like you're fucking delusional. Like, of course that's going to suck. Of course it's going to be painful. I haven't seen anything of this like thesis invalidated yet. So like, I don't know. Like I just still like it, like in the longer term. Like objectively speaking, like if you want to trade this for the next like 8 days, like yeah, it looks really bad.
Yeah.
It does. But like, are you trading for the next 8 days? Like, are you trading for like the next 8 months? Are you trading for the next 8 years? Like these questions matter.
So I'll interject a question that Pilgart mentioned in the chat. What's up, lads? Would love your take on ETH for the long term, 18 months plus. To me, ETH seems to move forward as a jack of all trades, master of none. Sol has more DEX volume. BTC is a better store of value.
Such a good question.
It is a great question,
Yeah,
but
some
like,
good questions.
and
in the
I've
chat.
seen God, what's his name? Pomp go on CNBC, and he kind of like threw ETH under the
Sure
rug.
did.
And I was like, all right, but like, what would I have said in response to that? Like,
If you were Bitcoin Maxi.
yeah, if I was just say like, ETH is a bet on? Do you believe a decentralized smart contract platform will grow over time? And if you think it will, then ETH is your best bet. Like BlackRock, all these like financial institutions will migrate over. If you believe in that and that we will settle all of these financial transactions in a smart contract platform, it will happen on ETH. If you believe in stablecoins, if you believe that stablecoins will continue to grow, and that one out of all the use cases I believe in the most.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, those will happen as well. And I think like ETH is your asset of choice because you can't necessarily invest in stablecoins. I mean, if you could, when Circle goes public, maybe a different
It almost
bet.
fucking did, dude. It was almost under Concord, whatever, in a SPAC.
Yeah, in a SPAC. But anyway, I agree. I mean, I think we're in that moment where, yes, you may not be buying at the like perfect moment. You're gonna see like 20% drawdowns, but like this is one of those moments where like it seems tough, but you just keep buying because if you believe in this long-term vision, I mean, I've been turning down some of these multifamily real estate deals and just buying
yes.
ETH every day.
I was wondering when that was gonna happen.
And I'm doing it, and I'm like, fuck, like I just believe like if I'm looking at like,
especially considering the ETH yield as well. I mean, it depends how you view that.
yeah.
but
So I'm looking at like a tax advantage 17% IRR annually on these deals. So I'm saying like 70%.
on the real estate deals.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pay taxes on that 70%. So what I'm really saying is that like my hurdle is
Right.
25 to 30% a year.
You could buy like wrapped staked ETH with no.
But guys,
tax.
stop it. Focus on the question.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Focus on the question that was asked because I think it's a good question.
Okay.
It's this.
jack of all trades, master of none.
Is ETH a jack of all trades? Like, I think this question is appropriate, but I think it's misguided. It's sort of like equating Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana and being like, oh, this like, ETH's trying to do what Bitcoin and Solana. No, I think that's like the wrong way of framing it. ETH and Solana are trying to compete for a thing, and then like Bitcoin's just doing its own thing, right? So like I don't think I know Bankless is trying to do this like ETH is like ultrasound money thing. Like I think they've abandoned that. I always hated it. It's dead. Like it's like ETH as money was always a bad idea. It's still a bad idea. Bitcoin is just its own thing. It's gold, whatever. Let it do its thing, right? The whole battle right now is like ETH and Solana. So like you can't really say it's jack of all trades. It's like you're two assets taking two different approaches, and they probably fucking end up in the same place, right? And like if you think this through, like right now we're sitting here with ETH and we're like, what is our out? Like our out is basically like ultimately institutional money is going to flow in and just lift this like this sinking cruise ship we have up, and we're gonna all just like float ashore on this wave of money and everything's going to be fine, right? And then, you know, people who are buying Solana right now are like, LOL, like, look at all these, like, metrics of Solana. So, like, I know Pig Art, he was, like, talking about, was it Pig Art? Pilgart. He was talking about, like, DEX volumes. Like, I don't want to get too in the weeds here, but, like, I think some of that shit is, like, bullshit. I think some of the metrics are bullshit. Like, you can get kind of, like, lost in this stuff. And, like,
Agree.
oh, people are buying Solana. Nobody's buying Solana because, like, the DEX volumes are high. It's like, it's just
Agree.
the whole industry is like a gigantic fucking psyop, right? Even if you believe that Solana is crushing because everybody's buying memes, nobody with a straight face is going to be like, the future of Solana is that everybody on planet Earth is just going to just gamble on memes. And like that's not the future. Like if you talk to somebody about like what's going to happen with Solana, like they're going to be like, yeah, so everybody's going to gamble on memes. They're going to come and then like everybody's going to get here, and then the institutions are going to realize that this is like a really sick thing, and then the institutions are going to come in and buy. Like both of these things are basically like question mark, and then the institutions come in and save your bags. Like Solana doesn't go to $8,000 because like all of planet Earth just gambles on dog memes, right? So they both have the same end state.
No,
but if that's the end state, which of those two chains is closer to the end state right now?
No, I think you're close, but I think Pilgart's right. Ethereum
He's
is
just asking a question.
okay. Ethereum is a jack of all trades, master of none, in my opinion as well. It's just like, where does it end? Okay?
What is the better global smart contract settlement layer?
Yes. Here's how I think about it.
Do you
Actually,
think ETH is the best unquestioned like global smart contract settlement layer on planet Earth?
I do.
Yes. So it's not a jack of all trades, master of none. It is a master of the exact fucking thing it's supposed to be a master of.
Yes. Okay. So good nuance. I think what I would say.
It's like the Joe Rogan show.
Thank you. That's exactly the example I was going to use. I was
Wait,
going
what?
to say I was literally going to hit you with Ethereum is Joe Rogan.
What? How do you both?
I was literally going to say Ethereum is the Joe Rogan podcast.
Ethereum's Joe Rogan. Solana's Taylor Swift.
Ethereum is the Joe Rogan podcast. What you get with that is like
Takes time.
a lot of different things.
Product market fit takes 8 years.
But then there's like little niched podcasts that can like succeed much quicker,
faster,
that are niched.
much clearer.
Yes, they're like very
Clear roadmap to product
Yes,
market fit.
dude.
Come on.
Are
that's
you
an
fucking
easy
saying we
yes.
need this for 6 more years?
probably 'cause, like, I actually think that the Ethereum, dude, well played. That's exactly the analogy I was going to use.
I'm so confused.
All right. Can I bring some heaters in from the
They'll
chat?
get it.
Yeah, they-
one day.
bring 'em in.
Well,
They'll
when,
learn.
when
They'll-
it happens,
they'll learn one day.
they'll get it.
All right, I got some heaters from the chat. Peter B. What's up, Peter B? L2 sequencers are siphoning massive value away from ETH holders and stakers like Amazon does by owning the customer relationship. The L2 sequencers earn hundreds of millions of dollars per month in fees, very, very little of which is passed on to these stakers in fees for blob space. What say you? He makes a good argument. It is true. It is happening.
I was already in the chat saying I agree with Peter.
So we're not going to fucking buy the L2 tokens because those are just
Well, I
even
think-
more garbage.
I think
Yeah,
it's-
like what is the cost of you owning the customer relationship? Like if you have to issue like 15% inflation on your token to subsidize your little ecosystem so that like all the customers flock there and the apps build there, like are you really siphoning value or are you just like ponzing yourself with some metrics and you're not actually capturing real value? Like
Good semantics.
Like what is the token price of Arbitrum versus ETH over the last year? What is the token price of like Optimism versus ETH? What like
Well,
these
if-
things are
if
getting
you're gonna-
slaughtered.
You can't just like use token price because my Ethereum token price is the worst performing asset in my whole portfolio.
Yeah, how's it doing versus Arbitrum?
How's it doing versus fucking Nvidia? Fuck you.
Okay, like any of us can play this game where we're
Yeah,
like
yeah.
pick best performing asset on
No, I
earth
know, but
compared to Ethereum. Wow,
Let's-
Ethereum sucks.
Let's like go back to his point. His point is true, but I think that's
No, his point isn't true because
No.
you're like, what is value?
no. Hold on.
Like, how much value are you capturing as an investor in Arbitrum right now?
No.
But he's not saying invest in Arbitrum or
No.
Optimism. He's
I
just saying
actually-
like
I'm
we
actually-
No,
can-
but that's the whole point of this. It's like, where do you
Stop.
invest?
No. What he's saying is that they are taking more share. Like, here's what I agree with him on. They're taking a lot of share, and it's a profitable game to play. But I think that's intentional. Because if Ethereum's going to win, you're going to have a lot of these L2s that are profitable, that like want to spin up and be profitable to the point where Ethereum is like a great place to settle to where Ethereum actually makes sense. That's the point. It's like the point is to fucking extract and have a bunch of extractors, and now we fucking settle here, and it actually makes sense.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I agree with you, and like what this argument, like I hear it and it like tilts me because it's like the same fucking argument for Solana. Like Solana is basically like none of the economics of this blockchain makes sense in the present world, in the present iteration, but in the future with like massive volume, like look how profitable we are. It's the same thing with L2s. Like nobody thinks L2s and like you put all this blob space out, and that like like obviously it's not going to be like cash flowing on day one.
Okay.
The point is that in the future you're generating this like future activity that's going to be like massively cash flow positive,
Well,
right?
yes, it has to be because it isn't. It has
mean,
to be the future because it
Can-
isn't.
Like this fact that like everybody's like concerned about cash flow in crypto is hilarious to me. Like what are the cash flows of Bitcoin?
I want Nick's opinion on this, but like honestly, Steven, you and I brought this up to David like before any of the L2s launched. Like we were like in the reading club, all of us sitting there, and I remember Steven and I being like, okay, so you're getting like all this volume over there, but like none of this is gonna accrue to ETH. So like what happens to ETH price?
But here's an analogy I think David would agree with. And I'll bring it back to my business, which is e-commerce, right? You're growing so fast and you're like, shit, we keep running out of inventory. We keep running out of block space. And it's costing us a lot of money. And then you order a fuckload of inventory because like we're growing. And so these L2s have created a massive amount of block space available on ETH L1, right? And so you just ordered a massive amount of inventory, and you're like, oh my God, there's no demand to meet this. And we're in that immediate lull. Like, ETH, the asset, the number of transactions, the number of developers are growing steadily every year. And we're just at this moment where there's a massive amount of inventory of block space. And it feels like they're the ones, the L2s are the ones extracting. But as this grows, not in a geometric form, but like in an exponential form, I think it'll all work out in the favor of ETH. And yeah, it's what it feels like. We structured this in a way in which we ordered a fuck ton of inventory, and we're a little stressed out now.
Agree.
We have so much block space
Good
available,
analogy.
and
agree.
you know, demand. We got to wait for demand to
But
catch up, and it inevitably
Same
will.
shit's gonna happen with AI.
And it was always going to be this way, right? Like it
Right.
always has to be this way where you're like, well, we'll scale way the fuck up, and then like we scaled.
And it seems so extreme because we just went on the step function. It wasn't like we gradually increased inventory. It was like, oh, you know, base just like leveled up. It was a step function, so it feels like we had a ton. All right, what else we got from the chat? Let's see. We got a lot of ETH will be fine. There's a lot of forced sellers for ETH now. That's from Vibes and Miles.
Eric's about to whip out that strong R.
Tom.
Yeah, I'm.
Can I just say, like,
known to do
He
that.
called it. You were close.
look, everybody looks at the price of something and then they decide how they feel about it. That's like the end story, right?
Bro,
ETH is not underperforming right now because like the network is just like not doing fundamental things. It's underperforming because it was a massively consensus trade and everybody fucking owned it, and it couldn't possibly like outperform relative to what was already priced in because of how consensus it was.
I know you're
And
like
Solana-
exasperated. It's like you're talking so fast, but like you just use that same fucking framework to talk shit about optimism and Arbitrum tokens. Like,
No, I didn't. The framework behind optimism and Arbitrum isn't that they're consensus. It's that the fucking economics of it are dog shit. Like
Are they,
ETH's
though?
economic, yes, they're fucking dog shit. Like I said, these things, like my exact point was that you're talking about like, oh, these guys own the customer, but like at what cost? Like, what is the inflation of these things? What is the amount of token supply being unlocked, being dumped on VCs? That's a totally different thing. Like Solana has been crushing because it was the opposite of ETH. It became a completely non-consensus thing, right? So given enough passage of time,
No.
there's going to be an intersection where like the consensus, non-consensus of the shit like wears off.
Dude, you're
and then the
conflating-
reality of the world like catches up.
You're conflating two different things right now. Which
I am
I'm
not,
having-
but go on.
No, you are. What I'm having a trouble with is that you're conflating price action based off of flows, meaning like people buying and selling versus fundamentals, and you're talking about them like they're the same thing. They're not. So like
No, I'm not. I'm literally just saying people feel a way because price is a thing.
that's true, but like the way you described it is false. Like Solana, you said it was like non-consensus, and now it's like performing. You said like
No, Solana's crushing because it was non-consensus. Because it was non-consensus, it was massively under-owned, which means flows to Solana had a massively oversized impact to the price of Solana. If something is consensus and everybody fucking owns it, then there's nothing that can make that thing go up except like some crazy
well, with
outperformance.
flows,
What-
flows could make it.
But what drives
No,
that?
it can't.
And Tilgar chimed in again. Is like what drives that is user experience, and Solana has the better user experience.
No, I think that's nonsense. I think that's people retroactively fitting like a narrative to something. Like
I
the
agree with-
reality is,
I agree with that.
people just like believe a thing, and then price goes up because it's like supply demand dynamics, and then people are like, oh, price is going up because look at this user experience and look at this. Like I think there's some truth to that, but I think a lot of it is nonsense, and people are deluding themselves. And I think we're playing this very long game where we can't predict all these moves, and like over the course of 5-10 years, the fuck knows what's going to happen. Like, and in the short run, people will
Are you
attach a
telling me
narrative
it
to
wasn't
stuff.
easier for people to buy a meme coin on Solana than it is on ETH?
That's a straw man, though. Like, that's not the reason why Solana's higher. Solana is not higher because it's easier for people to buy a meme coin on Solana.
I actually think that's the reason why it is higher.
No, that's silly. Solana is
What?
higher because like it was massively under-owned. It was so completely fucking sold off to the point that everybody wrote it off to fucking
So
zero.
that's also true.
It's the main reason.
Bro, like
This
these
is the
things
main
are
reason.
based on supply and demand. what Armand's talking about is demand side. Demand side is
Was-
based on the fucking
Explain
meme
to
coin.
me how people buying memes on Solana makes the fucking price of Solana go
Demand,
up.
bro.
Why is demand for Solana go up? Because people are buying cat memes.
Because the fucking activity on the chain is so high because of all the fucking meme coining. Are you are you like are you actually like ignoring this?
You felt that?
I felt the
The
This is
urge.
ridiculous. Like, how much Solana do you need in your fucking wallet to buy a cat coin? Point
think,
zero 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 one Sol. You think
No,
Sols
but there
go?
was way more volume on Solana than on ETH with meme coins. Specifically, if you pulled up,
You guys are
any of those
making all
dexes
these
right
like
now-
specious, fallacious arguments. Like,
I feel like that's
Wait,
you,
what?
bro.
That's
No, it's not.
That is what you're doing.
no, I'm not. I'm telling you the reason why Sol is up so much versus ETH.
Sol
It's
was like
purely a
$20.
consensus thing. It's purely a
I
consensus
agree.
thing.
It was like $20. It was extremely like undervalued, and it had a revolution, and that revolution was meme coins, and the user experience was
So
better.
if you think-
and faster, and transaction speed was better and cheaper. And that's all people care about. And then people started making TikTok videos about how to buy cat coins, and more people bought them. Like that. If you just
This is
bring
just-
it down to earth.
No, this
like
is
that-
this is such fucking nonsense.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
I,
Such
and
fucking
truthfully,
If you
nonsense.
bring it down to earth,
I don't care.
That's what happened.
I don't give a fuck. So
That is such a great way to
I
just
don't
kind of
care.
like
I own a fuckload of ETH. I hope it wins.
emotional.
Like, if you guys think like retail guys like trading fucking cat coins, paying 0.00001 Sol, like is like moving the price up, like this, it's just not.
Are you
it's just
saying
not how it
demand
works.
and transaction volume had nothing to do with it?
With Solana? Absolutely.
You just agreed that it was
Absolutely.
a factor.
No, I said the main reason Solana is going up so much is because of the flows relative to the like what people thought of it, right? Like if everybody's written off an asset to fucking zero, in another asset everybody thinks it's going to be like the next coming of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like the amount of flows required to move one up or down,
Can you just agree that both things are correct?
no, I think this is
Okay.
like this is an example of a fallacious argument people
Both
make.
things are correct.
No, because like price goes up. People are like, "Oh, price went up. This is why price went up." I just think it's nonsense.
It's
Oh,
not
God.
nonsense because price would not have gone up with Solana, and it wouldn't have been it would have stayed undervalued if there was no use case. You have to agree that both things are correct.
it's like it's
it would have
demand
been
side.
dead. It would have just died.
There's an obvious demand
It-
side.
the demand side is the only reason it came back to life. You know that that's true.
No, like I'm gonna
You know that that's
I'm
true.
gonna
Demand has nothing to do with
Yeah.
price.
I'm gonna drop
that's
I'm gonna
true.
drop this. Like if you think Solana is going to go to $8,000 in a year, like if the
Nobody
if
would have
meme
bought
volume
fucking
becomes
Solana.
like the same,
Nobody would have bought fucking Solana if there was no use case. Nobody would have bought it. And yes,
you
there
think
is
Solana? You
speculation.
think there's a use case? That's why Solana is
I-
people like need the. I need the
the voice
utility of the
rising.
Sol token. That's why it's worth like 20, like 80, 90, 120.
I do think that a lot of people speculated like me and just started buying at $20, $25, $30 because it was so undervalued. I agree with that.
Solana's utility
And
is like
then the use case
0.2% of its price,
Yeah.
maybe.
What I'm glad is that we got Steven to
raise,
break
escalate.
break the
I'm about to have a.
words.
I'm about to have a fucking.
We got to
seizure.
come up with a phrase for that.
I can't deal with this
It's like
anymore.
a ceiling, something ceiling.
I think Soul's solely mean reversion, but the chat, you guys got the chat riled up too. Vibe says agreed. The return to median is stronger. Tom Nom Nom says, I love a fallacious argument. Peter B says, just look at the fees paid by Solana users. It's that simple to see the impact of the increasing volume. Steven, buddy, look at the fees paid by Solana users.
Steven, buddy.
Vibe says,
Buddy.
no
I
one
like
is.
when they, like, sit
Buddy
you
is-
down. They sit
buddy
you
is
down.
like a fighting
Steven.
word.
Steven, buddy.
I'm not your buddy, pal.
If someone I don't know that well calls me buddy, I assume they're about to throw a punch.
That
Hey,
means
hey,
war.
buddy. Hey, buddy. Let's do a thought exercise on your business. If your business's entire bottom line is revenue generated from bots like fucking shelling users trading meme coins, how viable is your long-term business? Does that sound like a long-term viable option to you?
Sometimes it's not that complicated.
You're basically just like cold call telemarketing people like dick pills.
Well, to your credit, Tom Nom says,
can you
not
burn
going to lie,
people?
I feel like no one is getting Steven's point. Miles says, Soul caught momentum right before Blobs went live. Unfortunate timing, but completion is healthy. Will keep ETH on its toes. And I think that's a culmination of a good.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, that's a lot. We
That's
did
fine.
we did good there.
I'll just get clipped out of
I
context.
will say, you
on
guys-
the
you guys
internet
get
as
What mean, Basil?
coping ETH
I don't know. You guys
maxing.
got good range. You guys got good range. You know, you got Kamala. You got Sol tokenomics. I like your guys' range today.
Good range.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well,
Wow.
we had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too. Comment on the YouTube video. We haven't even do that much often, but if you got feedback for us, if you like the episode, let us know in the comments. And if you haven't liked the video already, please do. That helps us out a lot.
Yeah,
And
people chat, but let's get some regular comments.
like actual
yeah,
like
comment in the video.
hard-coded
hard
comments.
Like
lifetime value.
Armand's
comment.
jeans are too holy.
Dude, have you seen? Can I show you the size of this hole?
What? Hold on, I'm gonna make sure I'm on you.
Jesus.
Whoa, bro.
Bro, are you
I can
flexing?
see
What
your
do you
balls.
think I've been up to? What do you think I've been up to with a hole that size?
Hold on. I know you installed that yourself.
Yeah, I cut the whole thing out.
Yeah.
Cut the whole thing out. It's it's a thing now.
Good jeans, bro.
Yeah, it's a good gene.
Okay, hold on. I haven't worn jeans in 2 years.
Wait, what do you wear?
Maybe 4 years.
What have you been wearing this whole time? What are you wearing now?
He's what do you call these?
Khakis?
No,
Chino man.
Chino.
Wait,
Chino
those
man.
aren't denim?
I haven't worn denim in. It's probably been 5 years.
His skin would just immediately
I
start
haven't worn
chafing
denim in
if he
5
wore
years.
denim. His skin's too soft for that.
Skin so
He's just
soft.
Hold on, we got
bathing in-
two
in
denims
chino.
in the building. We got Viore over here. That's like this is velour probably.
Yeah, you might as well have a juicy printed on your ass.
The last time I saw Steven wear denim was in Spain when he took a picture. I was telling Amber, I'm like,
That's
is
such a
he
good
wearing
point.
jeans?
You're right. I actually remember that photo.
And I called out, I'm like, he's pretty big on Viore. Where's the Viore? No, he took.
Can you
jeans
show
on
me
the
what it like? Can you give me the options on chinos? I don't.
Okay,
I feel
hold
like I
on.
don't know them.
Derek Guy, Armand's favorite Derek Guy.
Okay,
Oh,
on
my
Twitter,
God.
Derek Guy.
Derek Guy on Twitter mentioned the difference between a chino and a jean, not only by the material but by the way you enter the pocket.
Ah,
So,
side.
Are you a flat pocket or a side pocket?
I mean, jeans are typically obviously
Jeans
front.
are top down, and I'm a side
Chinos are
in.
oh my
side.
God, you're right.
Top down.
Yeah,
Top down.
I gotta
Top
be honest
down
with
guy.
you. You have such limited space in those pockets,
What are you carrying, bro?
dude.
Pepper spray.
There's a lot.
Rape whistle.
There's a lot. There's a lot. AirPods. I don't know what's in there.
Keep
Like,
going. Keep going.
Yeah, there's a wall. There's a lot. Gum, pepper spray, knife.
Cool, man.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
But in that pocket, you got nothing in there.
You
Just zins. You got.
I can
you got-
barely-
You're raw dogging zins.
I can
in there.
barely
That's what
fit like
you're
a
doing.
loose zin inside.
No. Yeah, you, loose zin only. No packets.
All right, guys, this has been fun. We love you lots for joining us. Thank you so much. We'll see you next Wednesday. Love you guys.
Do we have to say
Bye
bye?
bye. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.